Chapter 380. She's a Guest. Ah Fu, invite Miss Wu Zheng in. A vigorous male voice came from inside the Jadewater Mountain Villa. Behind the half-open door stood a man. Beside him was a servant carrying a lantern, which made him look tall and straight. Ah Fu turned around. Man ahead, she. How could he invite this woman into the villa? How could he invite her into the villa? Invite the guest in, the man interrupted. Yes. Fu bowed and bowed towards the inside. Then, he turned around and said stiffly, Miss Wu Zheng, please follow me. The Shi Shang smiled meaningfully at the person inside, then followed Ah Fu to the guest room. Once the two left, the servant beside the manor head carefully asked, Man ahead, why did you let her in? She's just a little girl. Why are you afraid of her? The manor head countered with a hint of disdain. Rumor has it that she's an expert in poisons, and she also has Frost Moon. Precisely because she has Frost Moon, the manor head said faintly. The servant didn't dare to reply. Fu Yun's injuries were rather serious, and he'd been poisoned. Bai Luo stood by his side, her face deathly pale. Miss Bai, you should go rest. I'll keep an eye on Sir Fu. Ah Fu couldn't help but remind her. I'm fine. Bai Luo shook her head. Will Big Brother Fu be fine? Sir Fu's poison can only be suppressed for now. The manor head is already thinking of a way, so don't worry, Miss Bai. Bai Luo grabbed Fu Yun's arm. How could she not be worried? There were only a few more days until the duel with that Jiang Zhan. Would Big Brother Fu recover? Ah Fu tried to persuade her, but Bai Luo wouldn't listen. Bai Luo saw sweat on Fu Yun's forehead and touched it. It was frighteningly hot, so she got up and went outside to fetch water. Her footsteps were quick, so the manor's servants weren't surprised to see her. While she was fetching water, a few servants were chatting nearby, and Bai Luo overheard them. She's really that Wu Zheng? She should be. Didn't Steward Fu tell us not to go near that place? If it wasn't her, why would he be so cautious? Why did she come to our manor? We won't be in any danger, right? She said she came to watch Sir Fu and that demon Jiang fight. What are you afraid of? With the manor lord here, what can she do? Exactly. Isn't she Grandma Medi's disciple? Granny Medi is a highly respected senior. How could she teach such a disciple? Grandma Medi's disciple? Bai Luo didn't hear the last word clearly as the words kept circling around in her mind. His father had said that Grandma Yao was a godly doctor, so her disciple should be a godly doctor as well. Bai Luo carried the water and hurried back to her room. She didn't know when the village head had arrived. Next to him stood a man who looked like a doctor, taking Fu Yun's pulse. Bai Luo stood outside the door and didn't enter. She held her breath and listened to the conversation inside. The doctor shook his head vigorously. This old man has never seen the poison that young Master Fu was poisoned with. The doctor packed his things while shaking his head and sighing. This old man heard that Miss Wu Zhang is in the manor. If I can invite her to take a look and find out what kind of poison it is, this old man might have a way. But, in terms of poisons, if Wu Zhang claimed to be second, no one in the pugilistic world would dare to claim to be first. But would this vicious and merciless person come to see it? The doctor sighed. Wu Zheng. That's Grandma Medi's disciple? Bai Luo gritted her teeth and turned to leave. She asked the manor servants and found out where Fu Yun lived, then hurried over. Ah Fu was afraid that Shi Shang would harm the manor's people, so he specially arranged a small courtyard for her. Bai Luo looked at the name of the courtyard and knocked on the door. The courtyard door opened with a creak. There's no lock? Bai Luo poked her head inside, but there was no one inside. Miss Wu Zheng? Bai Luo called out. No one answered. She hesitated for a moment, then boldly pushed the door open and entered. Bai Luo had only taken 2 steps when a black shadow flashed in front of her. She retreated in shock, her heart thumping wildly. Shi Shang had jumped in from outside the courtyard. She was also very surprised to see an additional person in the courtyard, so she sized her up. What's the female lead doing here? Isn't the male lead about to die? Jie, it's you? When Bai Luo saw Shi Shang's appearance, her eyes flashed with surprise and excitement. Shi Shang. It was so dark, yet you saw me clearly. Female lead, are you secretly in love with me? What's with that excited look of yours? I'm not a lesbian. How did you get in? Bai Luo blinked, then pointed at the courtyard door and explained in a small voice, I didn't close the door. I didn't close the door? Forget it, that's not important. What are you doing here? Female lead, why are you wandering around here instead of accompanying your sweetheart? Bai Luo suddenly became nervous. Is this older sister Miss Wu Zheng? She took a deep breath and asked carefully, Jie, are you Medicine Granny's disciple? Shi Shang sized Bai Luo up strangely, then nodded randomly. You can say that. The original host was, but she wasn't. Bai Luo's eyes sparkled like gems. That's great. Brother Fu was poisoned, but the doctors don't know what kind of poison he was poisoned with. Jie, can you go see what kind of poison he was poisoned with? Towards the end, Bai Luo's tone became pleading. In the end, she hurriedly added, I can pay Jie. Shi Shang, you want me to treat the male lead? Did you get kicked in the head by a donkey? It's already good enough that I didn't poison him. But how did Fu Yun get poisoned? This didn't seem to be part of the original plot. Why did I mess up the plot again? Jie, what do you want? If I can do it, I'll definitely help Jie. Bai Luo grew anxious at Shi Shang's silence. If I want Fu Yun's life, can you do it? Shi Shang rolled his eyes. If you're poisoned, you should find a doctor. Why are you looking for me? The doctor said, he doesn't know what kind of poison it is either. He said that Jie might know, so. Bai Luo's tears dripped down. Jie, what will it take for you to go see Brother Fu? Hey, you're making I sound like a heartless person. Watch your words. Jie, I'm begging you. Why should I? Shi Shang smiled faintly. Why should I help you? Bai Luo stared blankly at Shi Shang, glistening tears still hanging from her long eyelashes. Shi Shang's lips curled up slightly, revealing an evil smile. Also, haven't you heard of the rumors in the pugilistic world? Bai Luo stuttered. What? I only know how to kill, not save. The woman opposite her smiled faintly, but Bai Luo didn't see any ripples in her eyes, only calm and tranquil. Her voice kept echoing in Bai Luo's ears. She said, I only know how to kill, not save. Little fairy. I want a ticket. Shi Shang. I don't have a ticket. Do you want a head? Little fairy. My daughter is so violent. What do I do? I'm waiting online, it's urgent. Shi Shang. I'm so violent, aren't you the one who spoiled me? Little fairy. It's my fault again. Chapter 381. Bai Luo didn't remember how she left the courtyard. She only remembered that woman's evil smile. Dazzling and flamboyant. She stood outside the courtyard for a long time. There were so many words on the tip of her tongue, but she couldn't say them. That question of hers had completely shut down all of her arguments. She didn't even know her, so why would she help her? Bai Luo left dejectedly. However, as soon as she left, the village head sent someone to invite Shi Shang over. The person who was sent was Fu. Lady Wu Zheng, what will it take for you to help? Fu immediately asked. What he meant was that she could set any conditions she wanted. Shi Shang crossed his legs and sat back in his chair like a loafer. His lips curled into an arrogant smile. Just based on the name Fu Yun, there's no chance. Fu. What's wrong with Fu Yun? Did she have a grudge against young Master Fu? I've never heard anyone mention it in the world of martial artists. Lady Wu Zheng. Shi Shang waved his hand. Butler Fu, you have to be firm. If I say there's no chance, then there's no chance. Fu suppressed his anger. May I ask, Miss Wu Zheng, How has young Master Fu offended you? Shi Shang glanced at him. I don't like him. Fu. Fu passed the message back to the Manor Lord word for word. Did she really say that? The Manor Lord looked at Fu with a strange expression. Fu nodded. That's what he said. Fu asked hesitantly, does Wu Jing have a personal grudge against Master Fu? Probably not. The Manor Lord wasn't sure if they had any personal grudges, but there had never been any rumors of Fu Yiyun and Wu Jing having a grudge against each other. Then the Manor Lord sneered, it's just an excuse. Manor Lord, I don't understand why you want her to stay in the manor. Fu asked the question that he had been holding back for a long time. A glint flashed across the Manor Master's eyes. The Cold Moon Sword is in her hands. Cold Moon Sword? That sword. However, he was only ranked 6th. Why did the villa head care so much about him? The Manor Lord naturally wouldn't answer Fu's question. He waved his hand and dismissed Fu. As the male lead, Fu Yiyun definitely wouldn't die. The very next day, someone discovered what kind of poison he'd been poisoned with. However, knowing what kind of poison it was even more difficult. Only the people of the Devil Sect had this poison, and naturally, only the people of the Devil Sect had the antidote. The demonic sect is breaking the rules. The Wulin heroes who heard the news condemned the demonic sect. Shi Shang just so happened to pass by, and with a cheap mouth, he added, the duel was between Jiang Zhan and Fu Yiyun. What does it have to do with the demon cult? Why do you care if someone poisoned them or not? Why don't you care if they have money to spend? Besides, if it's the demonic sect's poison, does that mean it's the demonic sect's doing? Who are you? Why are you speaking for the demonic cult? Are you a spy of the demonic cult? Hearing this, someone was immediately angry. He turned around and saw the woman standing in the corridor. Her bright face had a mocking smile, and her eyes were calm without any ripples. At a glance, her eyes were bottomless, like a 1,000-year-old cold lake. She was wearing a dark blue dress. Probably for convenience, the hem of the dress was not as cumbersome as other women's. It was very simple, and there were only a few clouds embroidered on it. On the outside was a translucent muslin dress, which made the clothes inside look hazy. Shi Shang flipped the hair in front of his chest. We're all from the same roots, so why are we in such a rush to attack each other? If I don't speak for the demonic cult, am I supposed to speak for you? Demoness Wu Zheng. This demoness was actually here. They had thought it was just a rumor. What was wrong with the people of Jadewater Village? Why did she let them in? Don't look at me like that. Be careful, I'll... Shi Shang waved his hand, and that person's neck shrank back. The expressions of the people beside him also changed. This woman's use of poison had reached perfection. Most of the time, they didn't even know when she had poisoned them. If the original owner didn't have any skills, she would have been killed by these people long ago. It was normal for them to be wary of her. Bai Luo hurriedly entered through the carved archway in the distance. When she saw Shi Shang, she was clearly stunned. Perhaps sensing that the atmosphere was a bit off, Bai Luo didn't dare get too close. She stood in the distance and called out, "Seniors, the village lord invites you to the meeting hall. Demoness Wu Zheng will let you off this time. This is Jadewater Village. We won't bicker with you." Shi Shang. If you have the guts, why don't you bicker with me? What kind of man are you? I'll wait for you to bicker with me. Their expressions were ugly, but they didn't say anything and quickly left. Bai Luo glanced at Shi Shang from afar, a complicated look in her eyes. But because of Fu Yiyun, she retracted her gaze and followed the others. Shi Shang silently gave them the middle finger. A bunch of cowardly idiots. These people couldn't come to a conclusion even after discussing it. After all, not just anyone could cure the demon sex poison. There was one person in Jadewater Village who could cure it, but she had already made it clear that she was on the demon sex side. There were also some who suspected that she was the one who had poisoned them. Although Bai Luo said that she hadn't appeared when Fu Yiyun was injured, it was still possible that she was in cahoots with the demon sect. However, this was just a thought. Would you dare to confront a woman who could poison you to death at any time? In any case, they didn't dare. Fu Yun's condition was worsening by the day, and the appointed time was getting closer and closer. 3 days before the appointed time, Shi Shang heard that Fu Yun's poison had been cured. Who did it? Shi Shang didn't know who did it. But even if the poison was cured, it was still impossible for Fu Yun to win against Jiang Zhan in 3 days. Shi Shang said that he had already prepared the melon seeds, peanuts, and stools to watch the male lead get abused. Before Shi Shang could watch the male lead get abused, the village lord sent someone to invite her over. Miss Wu Zheng, the village lord invites you for a chat. Invite me? Shi Shang raised his brows. The person respectfully replied, yes. Shi Shang continued to ask, just me? Miss Wu Zheng, you'll know when you get there. The person tactfully replied, I'm not going. Shi Shang rolled his eyes, ignoring the shocked gazes of the servants. He arrogantly knocked on the table and said, if he wants to see me, let him come himself. Am I, BBB, that easy to see? That servant had probably never seen such an arrogant guest. She was in someone else's territory, yet she dared to ask the village lord to come see her. Even if she was very powerful, she should at least know what it meant to be a local bully, right? Seeing that the servant wasn't moving, Shi Shang directly threw him out. The servant was angry, but didn't dare to say anything. He went back to report in confusion. Host is acting cool again. Will you die if you don't act cool? Will you die if you talk properly? Will you die if you do a mission properly? The system guessed that Shi Shang was thinking, I'm already giving you face by staying at your village lord's place. You're not coming to pay your respects, but you still dare to put on airs in front of me. Do you want to get beaten up? Host, let me tell you, this kind of thinking is very dangerous. You'll get beaten up by a crowd. My host is getting more and more arrogant. She's always thinking that conquering the universe isn't a problem. What should I do? Asterisk system. Host, what's your secret to acting cool? Shi Shang. Because she's my biological daughter. System. So I'm not your biological daughter? Shi Shang. Disdainful face. Chapter 382. Although the village head was a bit angry after hearing the report, he suppressed it and brought his men to Shi Shang's courtyard. Shi Shang sized him up from head to toe. Why did you have to make things difficult for me? You didn't even try to make me carry your shoes. Sit anywhere. Village lord. Wasn't this his house? Taking a deep breath, the village lord acted like a host. Miss Wu Zheng, are you used to living here? It's all right. If there's anything you're not used to, you can tell me. I'll get someone to arrange it for you. Okay. No matter what the village lord said, Shi Shang would reply with words like, it's all right, okay, or oh. The village lord chatted for a while but couldn't continue the conversation. After a few seconds of silence, he asked, Miss Wu Zheng, have you eaten? Shi Shang raised his eyes slightly and looked straight at the village lord. His gaze was a little strange, as if he was looking at a rare object. The village lord didn't know why, but he felt a chill run down his spine from the bottom of his feet to his head. This feeling only lasted for a moment. When he looked over again, the woman opposite him had already lowered her eyelashes and looked indifferent. No. It must have been an illusion just now. The village lord comforted himself in his heart. If Miss Wu Zheng doesn't mind, how about I have a drink with you? Shi Shang raised his head again with a teasing smile. Village lord, I'm just a girl. You want me to drink? What are you trying to do? Village lord. Who doesn't drink in the pugilistic world? I'm just kidding. It's a blessing to be able to drink with you. It's a blessing you've accumulated over several lifetimes. The village head ordered the servants to prepare the meal while he chatted with Shi Shang on and off. Shi Shang would occasionally reply in an arrogant and rude manner, but the village lord didn't show any dissatisfaction. This was interesting. The dishes were served quickly. Shi Shang glanced over and didn't see anything wrong. Miss Wu Zheng, Try it and see if you like it. If you don't like it, why did you ask someone to remake it for me? Village lord. Don't you know basic manners? He endured it. The food was actually not bad. At least, it was much better than what Shi Shang ate in the wild. Shi Shang didn't stop eating. She accepted the toast from the manna head. After drinking a few glasses of wine, his stomach felt like it was on fire, and he felt a little uncomfortable. However, her expression did not change at all. Towards the end, the manor lord could not hold on any longer, but the person opposite him was still as calm as ever. Sir, it's getting late. I won't be drinking with you. Shi Shang asked him to leave. Oh, all right, then Miss Wu Zheng. Rest well. The manor lord spoke with a loose tongue and waved his hand in the air. The people behind him immediately came forward to help him leave. Shi Shang sat there for a while. In a world with internal energy, there was no spiritual energy. She couldn't cheat with her spiritual energy, so she could only force herself to drink. Fortunately, this body's alcohol tolerance was not bad. The manor lord walked some distance away from the small courtyard. He brushed away the people who were supporting him and walked forward with a gloomy expression. Wu Zheng was the ancestor of all poisons, so he naturally did not dare to poison her. He did not expect a girl like her to be so good at drinking. Manor lord. Fu called out apprehensively. He had a feeling that Wu Zheng had already discovered what they were trying to do. Go investigate her weaknesses. The manor lord's expression darkened. Fu respectfully replied, Wu Zhang used to be an orphan and was taken in as a disciple by Medicine Granny. Now that Medicine Granny is dead, she's all alone. I've never heard of her having an intimate relationship with anyone. Towards the end, Fu's voice grew weaker. The manor lord sneered and said firmly, Everyone has weaknesses. Yes. As the group gradually walked away, Shi Shang walked out from the shadows. He casually patted off the dust on his skirt as he stared in the direction they had disappeared. What does this manor lord want from me? Before Shi Shang could figure out what the manor lord wanted, it was time for Zhang Zhan and Fu Yun's duel. The venue was at the peak of the mountain behind Jadewater Manor. This was the place where Jadewater Manor's disciples practiced their martial arts, but it had been temporarily changed to a duel venue. Shi Shang chose a seat near the back, occupying several chairs by himself. The others were angry, but they did not dare to voice their anger and kept their distance from him. Fu Yun sat in the front row, looking fine. Bai Luo was nervously grabbing him and talking to him. Shi Shang, the so-called sect master of the demon sect, was nowhere to be seen. Shi Shang was a bit worried. There was no spiritual energy in this world, nor were there any hidden missions. So the conclusion was that Feng Ci wasn't here? She remembered that the villain in that Xianxia world wasn't Feng Ci. She could confirm it in that world, but she couldn't confirm it in this world. She felt like the system was doing this on purpose. When Zhang Zhan still didn't show up, Shi Shang thought he was showing off. It wasn't until noon that Shi Shang saw a figure appear on the path leading up the mountain. That's Zhang Zhan? Black robes, scarlet heaven sword. It should be him. Why does he look like this? Shi Shang. So none of you know him? What the F***ck? Zhang Zhan's appearance was not like those in novels where young women carried palanquins and scattered flower petals as they descended from the sky. Instead, he climbed up from the foot of the mountain. He was wearing a black robe, his hair a mess, and he held a blood-red sword in his hand. Zhang Zhan's hair stood on end when he saw him, and the blood-red sword slashed through the air. Who dug a hole at the foot of the mountain? What's the meaning of your righteous sect? Zhang Zhan's appearance leaned towards femininity. His eyebrows were delicate like a woman's, but he was extremely good-looking and didn't look feminine. He was wearing a black robe, but it had an elegant effect. When he moved, the hem of his robe fluttered in the wind. If the voice didn't belong to a man, people would probably think it was a woman. Everyone was stunned by Zhang Zhan's question and even ignored his appearance. How could there be a hole at the foot of the mountain? And you, the head of the devil sect, why didn't you fly up instead of showing off? Why did you climb up so graciously? Sect leader Jiang, we don't have a hole at the foot of the mountain. The Manor Lord stood up. That's a trap to prevent wild beasts. Why did you step into it? Digging a trap at the foot of the mountain? Is there something wrong with your brain? Jiang Zhan continued to stand on end. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Have you never seen a man as good-looking as I? Indeed, they had never seen a man who looked like a woman. And he even fell into a hole. The crowd. How could this sect leader be so immoral? Actually, this was the first time they had seen Jiang Zhan. Ever since the devil sect was damaged last time, the new sect leader Jiang Zhan hadn't appeared in front of people. They had only heard various versions of rumors about him. Shi Sheng also felt that there was something wrong with this sect leader's style. Where the hell did this lunatic come from? What happened to the high and mighty red-robed sect leader who was so awesome that he could fly to the heavens? He was simply an embarrassment to the devil sect. In any case, he should at least bring a few people to show off. Shi Sheng had just thought this when he heard a few panting cries from the foot of the mountain. Sect leader, why are you walking so fast? Which idiot built this road? It's so hard to climb. 4 figures appeared in everyone's line of sight. One of them was even hugging an animal that looked like a puppy. That person moved to Jiang Zhan's side. Sect leader, do you still want this puppy? The crowd. Little fairy. Sect leader, do you still want your dog? Jiang Zhan. I want a white tiger. What's the meaning of giving I a puppy? Little fairy. We don't have enough funds. Jiang Zhan. Come, guests, vote. It was a reward. Chapter 383. Sect Master, I didn't expect you to be this kind of sect master. What's with the puppy? This sect master is really... Shi Sheng couldn't hold back his laughter. The entire hall was silent, and only her laughter could be heard, making it very abrupt. Everyone looked at Shi Sheng strangely. Sect Master Jiang glared angrily at her, but with that face of his, he looked a bit like a furious beauty. Wu Zheng, what are you laughing at? Shi Sheng's laughter came to an abrupt halt. Did the original owner know this crazy villain? Shi Sheng did his best to search through the original owner's memories. It seems, probably, they didn't know each other, right? Jiang Zhan walked aggressively in Shi Sheng's direction. As he walked, his sleeves fluttered, and the bell hanging from Scarlet Heaven let out a clear ringing sound. Shi Sheng was still sitting on the chair, one leg propped up on the chair next to him. His hand rested on his knee as he shook his leg like a loafer. She watched as Jiang Zhan approached. Just as she was wondering what was going on, the sword in his hand came slashing at her. Shi Sheng leaped into the air and landed on the ground next to him. Scarlet Heaven smashed the chair she had been sitting on into pieces. F***ck, are you crazy? Shi Sheng was enraged by the sudden attack. Don't even know you, but you're attacking me? What's the meaning of this? That's right, I have a problem. Didn't you diagnose me long ago? What the hell? Speak human language, F***ck. Jiang Zhan raised his Scarlet Heaven and charged forward again. Shi Sheng took out his iron sword to meet the attack. You want to fight? I won't beat you to death. The crowd. Wasn't it supposed to be Jiang Zhan and Fu Yun? How did it become Jiang Zhan and Wu Zheng? Isn't Wu Zheng using Cold Moon? What's that sword of hers? Why haven't I seen it before? Even Scarlet Heaven is being suppressed. Everyone was stunned by Shi Sheng's iron sword. Scarlet Heaven was the #1 weapon in the martial arts world. But now, the Scarlet Heaven sword that was ranked first was actually being suppressed by an ordinary-looking iron sword. Did Sect Master Jiang Zhan not use Scarlet Heaven's power? No. Quite a number of veterans in the area could tell that Jiang Zhan's chi was great, and he could bring out at least 90% of Scarlet Heaven's might. He was even better at using it than the previous Sect Master, but his sword technique was average. However, this couldn't cause Scarlet Heaven's sword to be completely suppressed. So, The truth was that the sword he had never seen before was more powerful than the Scarlet Heaven sword. Clang! The two swords collided, sparks flew in all directions, and an ear-piercing sound lingered for a long time. Shi Shang flipped his wrist downward and flicked it upward, knocking away Zhang Zhan's red cloud sword. Then, his body suddenly leaned forward, and the iron sword directly pierced Zhang Zhan's chest. As soon as the iron sword sank into his skin, the Shi Shang felt that it couldn't move anymore. It was as if there was an iron wall in front of him. The host attempted to murder a mission-related character. The punishment will be delivered within 24 hours. Please take note. What the hell? Say it again if you dare. The host attempted to murder a mission-related character. The punishment will be delivered within 24 hours. Please take note. The system repeated itself fearlessly. Punishment? Deliver within 24 hours? You even need to check? Do you think you're a delivery company? Does your master know that you're messing with the settings? He knows. No matter how much Shi Shang scolded, the system pretended to be dead and didn't say anything. After Shi Shang was done scolding, he finally looked at the person opposite him. Zhang Zhan felt a thick murderous aura wrap around him, as if it could materialize and pierce into his body. However, the murderous aura quickly receded like the tide. The iron sword pressed against his chest exerted force, and he stepped back. Strangely, the iron sword didn't continue to sink into his body. Shi Shang. System, F***CK your grandpa. Shi Shang was so angry that he pulled out the iron sword and slashed it at Zhang Zhan. Wu Zheng. Ow. Zhang Zhan stomped his feet. You crazy woman, stop. What are you guys looking at? Stop her. The onlookers. We didn't see anything. We didn't see anything. Shi Shang was happily slapping. Who told you to have the new bee protection setting? Who told you to collude with that retarded system? Who told you to /I? Zhang Zhan yelled for people to stop Shi Shang, but no one listened to him. Even the people he brought with him stood far away, afraid that Shi Shang would hit them too. Wu Zheng, that's enough. Zhang Zhan was so angry that he suddenly reached out to grab the iron sword. The iron sword fell at a very fast speed. If a normal person tried to grab it, half of their palm would be cut off. However, Zhang Zhan grabbed the iron sword steadily. Blood seeped out of his pale palm and dripped down. The place where Zhang Zhan was holding was already dyed red with blood. The color was brighter than fresh blood, and there was a faint red glow. Shi Shang's eyes darkened. She pulled out the iron sword. The iron sword buzzed. Shi Shang pressed the iron sword down and put it back into the system before anyone could see clearly. It was so rare to meet someone who was born on a day, month, and hour. Zhang Zhan looked at his own hand. There was a very deep wound, and his flesh was exposed. It was extremely hideous. Just now, he felt the blood in his body flowing out quickly. He raised his head to look at the person opposite him. Shi Shang crossed his arms and looked at him with a mocking expression. Wu Zheng you. If you dare say another word, I'll kill you. Shi Shang interrupted him. He was clearly threatening him, but his eyes were calm. No one could understand what he meant. The iron sword couldn't touch the blood of someone who was born on a day, month, and hour. Otherwise, the consequences would be severe. Shi Shang didn't know the reason either, but it couldn't. I'll let you go this time. If you dare to do it again, I'll cripple you. Shi Shang glared fiercely at Zhang Zhan. God damn it! The male and female leads were protected by the heavens, while the villains were protected by the system. It was her. One person. Fighting alone. This was intolerable. This psychopath definitely wasn't Feng Ci. Shi Shang snorted, then turned to find a chair and sat down, ignoring the stunned crowd and Zhang Zhan's reactions. She needed to calm down right now. Only then did the village head stand up. Sect Master Jiang, do you still want to continue the competition? Zhang Zhan took out a cloth from somewhere and wrapped it around his hand. He snorted angrily. Of course, why wouldn't I? Sect Master Jiang, do you want a rest? Jiang Zhan pointed Scarlet Heaven's sword and roared, Are you looking down on me? Let's compete now. Village head. Was he wrong to make the competition fair? Truly a dog biting Lu Dongbin, not knowing how to appreciate others' kindness. Sir Fu, Sect Master Jiang, please. Jiang Zhan swaggered to the center of the competition grounds. Fu Yiyun stood up. Bai Luo grabbed his hand and warned, Big Brother Fu, be careful. Fu Yiyun patted her head. It's fine. The sword in Fu Yiyun's hand was called Meteor Sword. It was ranked third, but Fu Yiyun had the title of number 1 swordsman. It was clear that his swordsmanship was exceptional. Jiang Zhan had lost some of his stamina and internal energy to Shishang, while Fu Yiyun had been poisoned and couldn't recover even after 3 days. The two of them were evenly matched. It was just that no one knew who would win. Recommending Jiu Mei's quick transmissions. Villain, don't tease me. The style was fresh and strange. The style was fresh and strange. The style was fresh and strange. Not taking the usual path, but a different quick transmissions. If you want to see all kinds of strange things, please look for Little Fairy's tweets. Chapter 384. Jiang Zhan's swordsmanship wasn't very good, but he relied on his abundant inner energy. Shishang narrowed his eyes as he watched the two fight. Jiang Zhan seemed to have studied Fu Yiyun's swordsmanship and could easily counter his moves. Fu Yiyun couldn't do the same, but he still had the upper hand. Their movements were so fast that they were barely visible. All that could be seen were white and black figures intersecting, staggered, and then intersecting again. Clang, bang. Jiang Zhan's body flew through the air before crashing to the ground, Scarlet Heaven beside him. Good. The people below immediately burst into applause. Jiang Zhan picked up Scarlet Heaven and pushed himself up from the ground, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Thank you for letting me win. Fu Yiyun looked at Jiang Zhan indifferently. Jiang Zhan wiped his mouth and stubbornly said, I was only letting you win today. Kill him, young Master Fu, kill this demon. Someone shouted from below. This sentence was like a stone thrown into a calm lake, causing ripples that eventually turned into turbulent waves. Eliminate evil and protect the Tao. 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 With Jiang Zhan dead, the demon sect was like a sheet of loose sand. Taking advantage of someone's precarious position? Is this how you righteous sects do things? Today, I, Jiang Zhan, have experienced it. When Jiang Zhan's face was cold, he still had some momentum. But if one looked closely at his face, they would feel like he was forcing himself to hold it together. What's there to talk about with the demon sect? Young Master Fu, kill him. Young Master Fu, hurry and do it. Let him do it, so why aren't you doing it? Afraid of retaliation? Shishang's voice wasn't very loud, but it pierced through the air and landed in everyone's ears. Someone automatically gave up their seat, revealing Shishang, who was sitting at the back. She had one foot on the chair in front of her and her arms crossed. Her chin was slightly raised, her expression full of arrogance and mockery. The scene fell into an eerie silence. Shishang was right. They didn't dare to make a move. The demon sect wasn't to be trifled with. They didn't care about gratitude and grudges. They only cared about how quickly they could get their revenge. If he really killed Jiang Zhan, his family might be in trouble soon. Jiang Zhan looked at Shishang with a complicated expression. She looked like she wanted to kill him just now. Why was she speaking up for him now? Shishang stood up slowly and said, In the end, what's the difference between you two? You're just making your words sound more beautiful, and then you'll be acknowledged by others. The things you've done, in other words, are not just as despicable. Don't pretend to be a chaste woman. We're all the same after we take off our clothes. Is it really okay for a girl like you to speak so harshly? Wu Zheng, what nonsense are you spouting? Someone angrily berated her. Wu Zheng, You want to ally yourself with the demon sect? Wu Zheng, you are Granny Yao's disciple. Do you think you are worthy of her spirit in heaven? One hat after another was placed on Shi Shang's head. Shi Shang pulled up the corners of his mouth and smiled faintly. At that moment, it was as if thousands of flowers had bloomed. They were colorful and carried a strong fragrance that directly attacked one's heart. But in the next second, the flowers quickly withered. They could only see a demon emerging from the darkness, baring his sharp fangs and ready to pounce on them at any moment. The woman opposite them spoke in an extremely calm voice. If you're not convinced, you can come and talk to me about life. I'll teach you how to be a new person for free. Her words were not calm at all. They were full of provocation and arrogance. She put down her arm. Just as everyone thought she was going to do something, she slowly turned around and walked down the mountain. The 4 disciples of the demonic sect who were blocking the mountain path immediately moved aside when she came over. What a joke. This woman even dared to hit their sect leader. They couldn't afford to offend her. They were afraid of death. Only when Shi Shang's figure disappeared from their sight did they come back to their senses. Why is this Wu Zheng so strange? The punishment the sister mentioned wasn't actually that scary. It was just being unable to move for 3 hours. Shi Shang had long been on guard against the system. When he returned, he locked himself in his room and stuck a talisman on himself. Who could do anything to him? Fighting with system, you're still too inexperienced. In the end, Jiang Zhan still fought with them. It was said that Jiang Zhan was heavily injured in the end and was rescued by the demon sect's reinforcements. Fu Yiyun was also injured. At this moment, Shi Shang was standing at the foot of a mountain, looking up at the lush greenery in front of him. Motherfucker, why do these people have to be so pretentious and live in the mountains? It's not like this is a cultivation world where spiritual energy is better. There's something wrong with them. Shi Shang followed the winding mountain path up the mountain. If it wasn't mud, then it was crushed rocks. Just how poor is this demon sect? They don't even build roads. When she was halfway up the mountain, she saw thatched huts that looked like a refugee camp. Children were chasing chickens and ducks all over the place, while women were planting vegetables nearby. Did she go to the wrong place? Hashtag the demon sect is so poor. Hashtag this demon sect style is so weird. Hashtag the demon sect sounded so high and mighty, but they were actually just a bunch of refugees who had been ostracized by the Jianghu. Which Wu Zheng is here? Oh, looks like they all know me. I didn't expect the original owner to be so famous. The refugee camp was filled with shouts, followed by chaos. The children and women were escorted into the huts, leaving behind only the young and strong ones. Shi Shang, I already crawled into your nest, but you didn't even notice. What the F***ck Shi Shang swaggered in. There was chicken and duck feces all over the ground. Shi Shang had to jump around to avoid them. He couldn't even pretend to be pretentious in this place. The demon sect members opposite him shouted at Shi Shang, "Which Wu Zheng, what are you doing here?" Shi Shang said with a straight face, "I'm here to lead you all to riches." The demon sect members. What the hell? Riches? Didn't this witch only know how to use poison? How did she know such a high-level skill? Shi Shang realized that the demon sect members all seemed to know her. But the original owner didn't have any impression of this. Did she lose her memory? The plot only mentioned things related to the male and female leads. Other than her memories, there was nothing else related to the original owner. Shi Shang didn't know what was going on, so he could only ignore it for now. She used violence to snatch the position of the demon sect's leader. Oh right. Jiang Zhan was injured and was in seclusion. That was why her snatching the position of the demon sect's leader went so smoothly. Probably because the people who followed Jiang Zhan to Jadewater Mountain Villa told him about her great achievements, the demon sect members rebelled and changed sides. Who dared to disobey violence? If not, please refer to the side. More than 10 men were planting vegetables in the field. There were even people standing guard nearby. The sect leader won't let you off when he comes out. You're actually helping that witch Wu Zheng. The sect leader raised you for nothing. These people cursed as they planted vegetables. Ting Feng, the supervisor squatting next to them, advised, "Hurry up and plant. If you don't finish by nightfall, you won't have anything to eat." "Fuck, she's skimping on our food again." Ting Feng coughed. "You can eat after you're done." "Bullshit, she didn't even give us dinner after we finished planting yesterday." One of the men raged. "Didn't she leave you some steamed buns? How can one steamed bun be enough for so much work? Does she think we're women?" Not only did they have to plant vegetables, they also had to pick up feces. "Why hasn't the sect leader come out yet?" "Sect leader, we won't complain about you being a busybody anymore. Hurry up and come out." Ting Feng looked at them, speechless. #hashtag is the demon sect style weird today? #hashtag how poor is the demon sect? #. Chapter 385. Only now did Shishang realize how poor the demon sect was. They only had 10 taels of liquid capital. 10 taels. In a rich family, 10 taels was not even enough to buy a piece of jewelry. The demon sect produced and sold everything they ate. Didn't they say that the demon sect had businesses all over the world and was as rich as a country? Such a cowardly demon sect was really. This was the first time she saw it. What was her mission again? To lead the demon sect to turn over a new leaf? What was there to change about this stupid demon sect? That was what the left guardian Ting Feng told her. "Sect leader, you have to understand that most of the people in our sect are illiterate. It's better for us to kill people than to do business." That was what the right guardian Gu Yu told her. Money? Vulgar. *flips table*. How can you live without vulgar things? Bring a few people with you and follow me down the mountain. Shishang face-bombed. Those who are skilled in martial arts. These two guardians of the demon sect were also weirdos. Ting Feng was in charge of all the affairs of the demon sect. What about Gu Yu? Gu Yu was in charge of being as beautiful as a flower. Gu Yu was a man. Ting Feng was also a man. They were not having an affair. Shishang saw Gu Yu standing on the thatched cottage where the sect leader lived. According to the sect members, he was absorbing the essence of the sun and the moon. "Are you trying to become a demon? Does your former sect leader know that you're so Chunibu?" Shishang decided not to bring Gu Yu down the mountain. Gu Yu seemed to have the same idea. He stood on the thatched roof and looked at Shishang as if he was an otherworldly expert. "Does he really not have cat biscuits?" Shishang tilted his head and asked Ting Feng. Ting Feng's mouth twitched. "Gu Yu's thinking is different from ours." Shishang glanced back. Gu Yu was still standing on the roof, but the tree blocked his face. "He's about to become a demon. Of course he's different." Ting Feng coughed. "Sect leader, why are we going down the mountain?" "To become rich." Shishang suddenly lost his balance. Fortunately, there was a tree next to him. He reached out to hold on to the tree trunk and steadied himself. Facing the sect members' strange gazes, Shishang said calmly, "If you want to become rich, you must first build roads. When we come back, you'll build roads." The sect members. It had been almost a month since Zhang Zhan and Fu Yun's match. There were two things that people were talking about. The first one was the iron sword in Shishang's hand. It was able to suppress the Red Cloud sword, and the iron sword had become the #1 weapon in Jianghu. They all tried to find out where the sword came from. The second thing was that Zhang Zhan and Fu Yun had written all sorts of stories about them. But they all had one thing in common. Zhang Zhan, the previous devil cult master, had been degraded to the point that he was worthless. There were even people who used his appearance as an excuse. Only now did Shishang realize that the name of the devil sect did not come from nothing. The people in the demonic sect were not as silly and sweet as she thought. It started because two people said that Zhang Zhan was like a woman and insulted him verbally. They even dragged the entire devil sect into it. The disciples she brought with her did not care about her opinion at all. They followed the two of them all the way and blocked them in a deserted alley. Shishang had a strange feeling as he watched them deal with the corpses. He didn't know if they were being scolded for Zhang or for himself. What happened next was even scarier. The devil sect seemed to have turned on their killing mode and started fighting at the slightest disagreement. It was completely different from the scene on the mountain where people would fight for a steamed bun for a long time. #this devil sect is poisonous. Shi Shang stopped them from fighting. If this went on, she wouldn't be able to do anything else. Shi Shang had them wait at the inn while he went out for a walk. For several days, the devil sect disciples were almost moldy. Only then did Shi Shang take them out on a dark and windy night. "Sect Master, where are we going?" "It's a dark and windy night. Who are we going to kill, Sect Master?" "Grow up a little." Shi Shang glared at them, exasperated. "You only know how to kill people all day long. The people we kill are people who deserve to be killed." One of the disciples was unconvinced. Shi Shang rolled his eyes inwardly. "Do you still think you're a messenger of justice? That's your enemy's line, okay? What's the point of saying it out loud? Our sect's doctrine is to punish evil and eliminate evil." The disciples were unconvinced and brought up their doctrine. "What's that?" Shi Shang was astonished. Since when did the devil sect have a doctrine? Why didn't she see it? Punish evil and eliminate evil? Why don't you save the people of the world? "Ahem, this is from a long time ago," Ting Feng explained weakly. "The first sect master of the devil sect left it behind." "The first sect master? Why did he leave behind such a doctrine?" Ting Feng continued to explain to Shi Shang. The first sect master wanted to be a hero, but before he could punish evil and eliminate evil, he was framed. Shi Shang was speechless at this story. He wanted to be a good person, but he was forced to be a bad person. "Stop. We'll talk about the doctrine when we get back. Let's get to work now." Shi Shang interrupted Ting Feng and pointed at the courtyard in front. "What are we doing, Sect Master?" The disciples were confused. "We're making a fortune." Where would she get the money if she didn't rob? The disciples were speechless. They thought Shi Shang was joking, but it turned out that they were overthinking things. She was serious. She really did rob that family. The family that was robbed was a notorious bully in the city. Shi Shang chose him because he was rich. Even if he killed them, no self-proclaimed righteous people would come looking for trouble. After all, everyone wanted a bully dead. It had to be said that this bully who preyed on the common people had a lot of money. Shi Shang only asked them to carry the gold and didn't ask for anything else. After leaving the residence, one of the disciples asked in confusion, "Sect Master, why didn't we kill them?" "Why would we kill them?" Shi Shang tossed the gold and paused. "We'll come back to rob them next time." The disciples were stunned. "Sect Master, isn't that a bad idea? This money belongs to the common people." Ting Feng was hesitant. Shi Shang's mouth twitched. He slapped Ting Feng's shoulder. "Come, tell me, what sect do we belong to?" "The devil sect." Shi Shang's eyes curved. "Do you have any other questions? We're from the devil sect, not bandits." "Yeah, bandits don't sound good." Ting Feng. There was no way to communicate with Sect Master. Shi Shang chased the others back to work on the road, leaving Ting Feng to follow him. The next day, news of the bully being robbed spread, and the bully even reported it to the authorities. However, it was useless. What useful information could those useless officials find? The common people, on the other hand, were very happy and praised them for doing a good job. Shi Shang swaggered around the city. Ting Feng didn't know what Shi Shang wanted to do, so he could only follow behind. On the third day, Shi Shang found the male and female leads. The two of them were staying at an inn. He didn't know if the male lead would meet his white moonlight here again if the plot had changed. "Sect Master, why are we following Fu Yun? Are you going to kill him?" Ting Feng didn't understand. "Why would I kill him? I had to be able to kill him first." Ting Feng guessed, "Sect Master, do you have a crush on him?" Shi Shang glanced at Ting Feng. "I'd rather have a crush on a pig than him." Ting Feng. "Then why are you following him?" Asterisk Feng Ci. I've turned into a pig. Shi Shang. I'm openly in love with you. Little fairy. Dog abuse, drag him out and torture him. Shi Shang, drawing sword. What are you talking about? Little fairy. Nothing, I'm just asking for a ticket. Thank you to the cherub who tipped me. Chapter 386. Even after Fu Yun and Bai Luo left, Lu Su didn't appear. Since she wasn't with Lu Su, the plot should have changed a lot. Shi Shang didn't know when they would meet again, so he decided to go back and fix the road first. On the way back to the demon sect, they had to pass by a small town. Shi Shang didn't plan on stopping, but he heard a familiar voice. Sect Master, Left Protector. Shi Shang was forced to stop. That person ran out of the town's entrance. Why are you still here? Ting Feng asked with a frown. They had been delayed for so many days. These people should have returned to the demon sect long ago. That person looked a bit guilty. Zhou Ji saved a girl, so we were delayed here. Shi Shang's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling about this. What's the name of the girl you saved? Lu Su. She's quite pretty. I knew it. Plot Sama wouldn't let me off. Go call her out. If Zhou Ji doesn't want to leave, tell him he doesn't need to return to the demon sect anymore, Shi Shang instructed. That girl. Shi Shang stared at him with a faint smile. You can stay with us. That person shook his head and ran inside. Soon, several people came out pulling carriages. There were 3 carriages in total, one more than before. Zhou Ji was a somewhat handsome young man. He sat in the last carriage. When he saw Shi Shang, he immediately jumped down. Sect Master. Shi Shang looked towards the 3rd carriage. A pair of fair hands slowly lifted the curtains, revealing a pretty face. She cautiously glanced in Shi Shang's direction. When she saw Shi Shang, her eyes lit up and she put on a pleasantly surprised expression. Miss Wu Zheng, why are you here? Lu Su's eyes were filled with curiosity. Just now, these people called her Sect Master. What sect's Sect Master? From what she knew, she had always been alone. How did she suddenly become a Sect Master in such a short time? Shi Shang ignored her and looked down at Zhou Ji, who was standing in front of the horse. Zhou Ji hurriedly said, Sect Master, Miss Lu is alone and injured. She looks quite pitiful. Can you let her come back with us? No. Shi Shang refused without any hesitation. Sect Master. Zhou Ji's expression changed slightly. I will take good care of her. I won't cause you any trouble. No. Shi Shang continued to refuse. Big brother Zhou, forget it. Miss Wu Jing probably doesn't like me. Lu Su bit her lips and said softly. Her aggrieved expression and pitiful eyes made the other disciples beside her slightly moved. Shi Shang smiled maliciously. Lu Su, why are you acting pitiful in front of me? Do you think I'm like these men? Can't you take a step after seeing a little beauty? Lu Su looked as if she had been humiliated. Her face turned pale and her body trembled. Miss Wu Zheng, even if you don't like me, you don't have to humiliate me like this. Who do you think you are? Do you deserve my humiliation? Shi Shang sneered. Sect leader. Zhou Ji walked back to Lu Su's carriage and looked at the Shi Shang with some dissatisfaction. Miss Lu is a woman. You don't have to speak so harshly. Shi Shang. What are you blabbering on about, you cannon fodder? Big brother Zhou, you don't have to speak up for me. I'll just leave. Lu Su was about to get off the carriage. Zhou Ji stopped her. Miss Lu, it's okay. I'll take you away. How can that be? Big brother Zhou, I can't implicate you. Lu Su shook her head vigorously, her face full of apprehension. What do you mean by implicating? You're a woman. How can I be at ease letting you leave alone? Big brother Zhou. Shi Shang. Damn, it's a pity that you guys aren't acting in Qiangyao dramas. Shi Shang gestured at Ting Feng with his chin. Ting Feng was confused. What? Shi Shang. They don't have any chemistry. Ting Feng felt very wronged. He had only been with her for a short time. What chemistry could they have? Sect leader, why don't we let Miss Lu come back with us? Sect leader. Are you guys rebelling? Shi Shang looked at them calmly. We don't dare. The person who spoke up for Lu Su immediately lowered his head. They had experienced how violent their new sect leader was. Shi Shang looked at Zhou Ji, but his words were directed at the others. Whoever still wants to go with her can come with us. The others didn't move. Sect leader, are you really going to be so unreasonable? Zhou Ji questioned loudly. Unreasonable? Shi Shang glared at him with a serious expression. Am I not doing this for your own good? Miss Lu Su is so beautiful. Many people will covet her if you bring her back. Do you want to have so many love rivals for no reason? Zhou Ji obviously liked Lu Su. So when Shi Shang said this, Zhou Ji's expression changed. Only a small portion of the demon sect members had a partner. The rest were all single. Shi Shang was good-looking, but he was so violent. Who would dare to have any improper thoughts? Lu Su was such a weak girl. If she went back with him, wouldn't those people go crazy? Zhou Ji was enlightened. He was even more convinced that he had to bring Lu Su away. The demon sect had been severely suppressed these past few years. They didn't have much of a future. Left Guardian, please tell sect leader that I'm grateful for his nurturing these past few years. If there's a chance, I'll repay him. Zhou Ji's words were obviously directed at Jiang Zhan, who was still recuperating in seclusion. He glanced at Shi Shang. Then he said gently to Lu Su, Miss Lu, let's go. Lu Su was like a frightened deer. Her watery eyes were filled with guilt and worry. Big brother Zhou, this. It's okay. Let's go. Zhou Ji thought that Lu Su was worried about him. His heart softened. He pushed her forward and jumped into the carriage. Brothers, we'll meet again if fate wills it. Zhou Ji cupped his fists at the others. Someone advised Zhou Ji. Zhou Ji seemed to have made up his mind. He bid farewell to them one by one. The carriage left in the opposite direction. The afterglow of the setting sun cast a long shadow on the carriage. Shi Shang looked on thoughtfully. After a few minutes, he ordered his men to set off. Ting Feng and Shi Shang walked side by side. Sect leader, why didn't you let Lu Su go up the mountain? If I don't like her, why did I let her go up the mountain and make things difficult for me? Shi Shang's eyes sparkled. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Why? Left Guardian, do you like her too? Ting Feng hurriedly shook his head. Lu Su isn't my type. Is that so? Shi Shang murmured. Then he asked, then what type do you like? Ting Feng looked ahead in confusion. I don't know. Without meeting that person, who knows what kind of person I'll fall in love with? You have a point. Without meeting the right person, who knows if I'll fall in love with a scumbag or an idiot? Asterisk little fairy. I want to report you. Son, your wife said you're an idiot. Shi Shang, what did you say? Little fairy. I didn't say anything. Feng Xi, wife, she said you said I'm an idiot. Did you say that? Shi Shang, draws sword, don't believe the words of an idiot. Be good and stand further away. Little fairy. What are you doing? Let me tell you, I'm your mother. Shi Shang, I'm your daughter too. Chapter 387. After Shi Shang's robbery, the demon sect finally had some savings. They no longer had to eat steamed buns and porridge every day and worry about what to eat next. Every day, Shi Shang made a group of men repair the road. They woke up earlier than chickens and slept later than dogs. But they had meat to eat. So there were people willing to repair the road every day. Shi Shang was deeply worried about the demon sect's future. But before she could stop worrying, Jiang Zhan came out of seclusion. Zhangzhan's seclusion was in a secret room built from a cave at the top of the mountain. As soon as he went down the mountain, he saw a group of people working nearby. "What are you doing?" Zhangzhan walked over and asked loudly. He clearly had a delicate and feminine face, but his behavior was like a rough old man's. The people there jumped in fright, and more than 10 pairs of eyes looked over. Sect Master, why you came out of seclusion? What are you trembling for? I can eat you. Zhangzhan had a bad temper. Why did I ask you? How could they not tremble? You're no longer the sect master. Oh right. The sect master knows about this. Mend the road. Mend the road? Whoa. I called you a few times, but you didn't do it. Why are you doing it now? Are you trying to curry my favor? Who wants to curry your favor? We'll have meat to eat if we repair the road. They didn't dare to answer, afraid that if they said the wrong thing, the former sect master would kill them without an intact corpse. Zhangzhan looked at them suspiciously. What's wrong with these people? Why are they trembling? Sect master? Ting Feng came to call them back for dinner. When he saw Zhangzhan standing a bit above, he cried out in surprise, "You came out of seclusion?" Zhangzhan turned to look at his Dharma protector. What's wrong with them? Why are they trembling when they see me? Are they spreading rumors about me again? Ting Feng's mouth twitched. He didn't expect his sect master to be so talented in acting. Ting Feng coughed. Sect master, let me tell you something. You mustn't get agitated. Ting Feng brought Zhangzhan back and recounted everything that had happened during this period to Zhangzhan. Zhangzhan's expression was extremely rich, but in the end, he exploded. That crazy woman Wu Zhang usurped Ai's position? She even made you repair the road? So you betrayed her? Sect master, we'll still listen to you. We won't be disloyal. Ting Feng raised his watch with a sincere expression. But you also know that we're no match for Miss Wu Zheng's strength. I really raised you guys for nothing. Zhangzhan was so angry that he snorted, "Where is that crazy woman? Bring me to her." Sect master, your injuries have just healed. Zhangzhan glared fiercely at Ting Feng, who immediately corrected himself. Sect master, come with me. Shi Shang was fiddling with the herbs that had just been delivered to him. He was preparing to make some poison according to the original owner's memory. But when he did it, he realized that there were so many steps and it was so troublesome. Wu Zheng! Bang! Following this angry roar, the door was kicked open. Shi Shang raised his head from a pile of green herbs. Zhangzhan's face was filled with anger as he strode in with his Scarlet Heaven sword in hand. Isn't this the previous sect master? Shi Shang stood up and retreated. You're not dead yet? Zhangzhan's face twisted when he saw the things on the table. He gritted his teeth and said, I have a long life. Is that so? Shi Shang's lips curled into a faint smile. Do you want me to send you on your way? Zhangzhan was furious. Wu Zheng, don't push your luck. Hurry up and get out of here for I. That won't do. I still have to lead the demon sect to riches. Shi Shang shook his head and said seriously. Zhangzhan sneered, a hint of mockery on his feminine face. By riches, you mean robbing people? Shi Shang raised his brows. What, I can't. Of course not. Zhangzhan slammed the table, his voice even louder than before. The demon sect doesn't do this kind of thing. Then what does the demon sect do? Murder and arson. You can add a side job. Bullshit. After shouting, Zhangzhan recalled Shi Shang's words. What did he mean by adding a side job? Whatever this woman said couldn't be anything good. Rejecting her was the right thing to do. You don't have the final say now. Shi Shang spread his hands. The demon sect is mine. Zhangzhan pointed the red cloud sword at Shi Shang, trembling in anger. Shi Shang's smile provoked Zhangzhan even more. He completely forgot that he was defeated and stabbed the red cloud sword at Shi Shang. Shi Shang narrowed his eyes. The iron sword suddenly appeared in front of him, blocking the red cloud sword. The two were in a stalemate. Zhang Zhan looked at the sword in Sheshang's hand and suddenly smiled sinisterly. Your sword is an evil sword, right? If it wasn't an evil sword that sucked human blood, then what was it? Sheshang didn't care. So what? Zhang Zhan snorted. Do you know what the consequences will be if this news gets out? An evil sword was a divine weapon that was made with special methods. This kind of weapon was much more powerful than other weapons. However, this kind of weapon was usually filled with blood and death. If it wasn't handled properly, it would backfire and turn into a monster that only knew how to kill. The people of the Jianghu hated this kind of weapon to the bone. What consequences? Kill me? Sheshang laughed frivolously, his tone arrogant. That depends on whether they can kill me first. Zhang Zhan gritted his teeth. Wu Zheng, don't think that you're invincible. I'm invincible. So what? Even I'm scared when I act cool. You? Sheshang took advantage of Zhang Zhan's distraction and quickly kicked Zhang Zhan's lower body. Ouch! Zhang Zhan's hand loosened and he covered his lower body. His face was pale as he squeezed out a few words. Wu Zheng, you're shameless. He kicked his family jewels. It hurt. Sheshang's iron sword drew a beautiful sword flower in the air. He said disdainfully, what's the use of being shameless? Can it be eaten or used to dominate the world? Zhang Zhan was in so much pain that he couldn't straighten his back. It hurt when he spoke. This lunatic. Sheshang raised his eyebrows. His voice was light but carried a sense of arrogant confidence. Those who achieve great things don't care about trifles. What a good don't care about trifles. This sect master will remember you. Zhang Zhan knew that he couldn't beat Sheshang now. He calmed down and waited for the pain to subside. He said ruthlessly, Wu Zheng, don't be smug. Just wait for I. Zhang Zhan glared at Sheshang one last time, then limped out with Scarlet Heaven's sword. Wu Zheng, this lunatic. He would make her beg for mercy sooner or later. Wait. You're thinking too much. You'll never catch up to me. Who do you think you are? How dare you make me wait for you? Zhang Zhan's body swayed. He held onto the door frame to prevent himself from falling. Wu Zheng. We're not done. He suddenly regretted it a bit. Zhang Zhan. Why am I always the one getting hurt? Little fairy. Because you're not favored. Zhang Zhan. Why am I not favored? Little fairy. Probably because you look like a woman. Zhang Zhan. Come here. I'll beat you into the sky. Little fairy. I'm already in the sky. I'm little fairy. Zhang Zhan. Too damn shameless. Little fairy, those who achieve great things don't care about trifles. Kneeling down with a plop, cherub, please vote. Chapter 388. The demon sect was famous for being greedy for life and afraid of death. They even acted as if it was everyone's responsibility to cherish their lives. So ever since Zhang Zhan came out of seclusion, the demon sect changed. Zhang Zhan was the former sect master, so the sect members still listened to him. But the consequence of listening to him was that they had no meat to eat and had to fix the road. You betrayed us for a few pieces of meat. Where's your dignity? Zhang Zhan was furious. On the day we entered the demon sect, didn't you tell us that dignity can't be eaten? A real man must know when to yield and when to stand tall. We're just enduring hardships. One of the sect members retorted. Zhang Zhan. When did he say such disgraceful things? That wasn't the point. Zhang Zhan waved at the people beside him, indicating for them to gather around. Tonight, you guys drug her. I want to take back the sect master's throne. Sect master? Are you retarded? It's not realistic to drug Miss Wu Zheng. The sect member spoke tactfully and looked at Zhang Zhan with sincere eyes. Zhang Zhan, even if you spoke tactfully and your eyes were sincere, he still felt like he was being looked down upon. Zhang Zhan slapped him. The sect member shrank back and successfully dodged. You still dare to dodge? Come here. Zhang Zhan pointed at him. The sect member meekly stretched his head over and closed his eyes in resignation. Other than bullying them, what else can you do? A clear voice rang out from behind them. Zhang Zhan's hand froze in midair. He turned to look at the woman who had appeared behind him at some point. His anger flared up. So what if I'm teaching my own people a lesson? So what? Shi Shang shook his head. This idiot. Is the road fixed? You guys are just chatting here. Don't you want to eat meat? They gave Zhang Zhan a look that said, good luck. Then, they ran down the mountain with their tools. You. This lunatic was his nemesis. Just be a useless former sect master. Don't cause trouble for me. Be careful or I'll cut you. Shi Shang made a throat-slitting gesture, a malicious smile on his face. Zhang Zhan's chest rose and fell rapidly, his face flushed red. Was it his fault that he couldn't beat this woman? He couldn't accept it. The night was cold, the moon like a hook. The woman on the bed seemed to be asleep, her chest rising and falling slightly. Zhang Zhan flipped in through the window and carefully approached the bed. He looked around and saw that the person on the bed was sleeping soundly. A sinister smile appeared on his face. He took out a small paper bag from his sleeve and opened it. A strong gust of wind suddenly came from the front, and the paper bag in his hand was overturned by the wind. The powder inside was all sprinkled on his face, and he subconsciously closed his eyes. But in the next second, he felt that something was wrong and took a few steps back. Clang! He didn't know if he hit a table or a cupboard, but he was forced to stop. He didn't feel any murderous intent, so he used his sleeve to wipe his face. When he could open his eyes, he saw that the woman on the bed had sat up. The moonlight outside the window just happened to shine on the bed, reflecting the faint cold light in her eyes, which was very frightening. Zhang Zhan's scalp turned numb and his muscles stiffened as he swallowed his saliva with difficulty. In any case, he was a great devil. How could he be frightened by a woman? The next day, when the devil cult members woke up, they found that their former cult leader had been hung on a pillar in the open space. The former cult leader's face was also covered in rashes. Ting Feng looked up at his stupid cult leader. I already told you not to go against that person, but you didn't believe me. This is your retribution, isn't it? It's all your fault. Gu Yu was expressionless. He crossed his arms and left to absorb the essence of the sun and moon. Ting Feng, Gu Yu, take I down. Zhang Zhan's voice was a bit hoarse. He had been taught a lesson last night. Ting Feng had someone take his stupid cult leader down and send him inside. Ting Feng applied medicine for Zhang Zhan while persuading him, cult leader, it's good that Miss Wu Zhang is the cult leader. Everyone in the cult is fed and dressed warmly. And back then, didn't I give you enough to eat and dress warmly? Zhang Zhan refused to accept it. Can't I regret it? Ting Feng. You really didn't. He suddenly realized that cult leader Wu Zhang was much better than his stupid cult leader. Zhang Zhan did his best, but in the end, he was taught a lesson by Shi Shang. After a long time, even Ting Feng stopped caring about him. Zhang Zhan was very upset and ran away from home. Not long after, word spread that Zhang Zhan had gone on a killing spree. However, everyone in the cult was calm, as if they weren't interested in it at all. Seeing Shi Shang's curiosity, Ting Feng explained. Zhang Zhan had never killed anyone before. He was only 15 when he took over the demon sect. Zhang Zhan's father had passed all his inner strength to him, but his swordsmanship was too bad and he had no management skills. He couldn't be a good cult leader at all. They were the ones who spread those rumors. That way, Zhang Zhan would seem more powerful and no one would dare to provoke him. Shi Shang silently gave Ting Feng a big thumbs up. I'll give you 101 points for showing off. I'm not afraid of you getting arrogant if you get one more point. Other than cult leader Zhang, the rest of the demon sect are still very powerful. Ting Feng scratched his head. In order to distinguish between Shi Shang and Zhang Zhan, they called Shi Shang cult leader and Zhang Zhan cult leader Zhang. Of course, they still called Jiang Zhan cult leader in private. She didn't react when Shishang bumped into her occasionally, so these people took it as Shishang's silent acknowledgement. Shishang nodded. Very powerful. Good at ganging up on a single person. Faster than a rabbit in a one-on-one fight. He knelt down to the demon sect. Actually, our sect's territory isn't here. Ting Feng's eyes were filled with nostalgia. The demon sect wasn't this poor in the past. They only became this poor after Jiang Zhan took over after the cult leader before the cult leader left. They really couldn't afford to have a cult leader who didn't know how to manage things and gave orders randomly. If it's not here, where is it? Shishang's interest was piqued. She was wondering how the demon sect could be this poor. It didn't make sense. Ting Feng looked to the east. MTD, the closest mountain to the sea. The demon sect has lived there for generations, but it was burned down in the end. Ting Feng's voice grew gloomy. 5 years ago, the Orthodox Wulin encircled and annihilated the demon sect. The demon sect suffered countless casualties, and these people were the only ones who managed to escape. Ting Feng and Gu Yu weren't Dharma protectors at that time. They were just Jiang Zhan's bodyguards. Jiang Zhan was ordered to escape with the demon sect's younger generation and set up camp here. He and Gu Yu mysteriously became Dharma protectors. Did I have a grudge against Jiang Zhan in the past? Shishang had wanted to ask this question for a long time. Damn, it was one thing for Jiang Zhan to look like she owed him something, but the members of the demon sect also acted like they were very close to her. Ting Feng was stunned. After a while he said, "Cult leader might not remember, but when the cult leader before the cult leader was still alive, he once brought cult leader Jiang to see Granny Yao. Cult leader Jiang was pranked by you and has always remembered it. He would bring it up and talk about it when he's free, so everyone knows about you." Shishang was silent. The original owner of this body really didn't remember anything. The original owner was probably too young. It was just a prank, but he actually remembered it for so long. He was really something. Jiang Zhan. What nonsense are you talking to her about? Ting Feng. I'm just telling the truth. Jiang Zhan. Bullshit. Ting Feng. Chapter 389. The Jianghu couldn't do without a chief. With the election for the chief around the corner, Shishang brought his men down the mountain once more. This time, Shishang had them rob people on their own, while she went to Bright Moon Mountain Villa alone. The male and female leads would definitely attend such an important event. Bright Moon Mountain Villa was very lively right now. Most people were in groups, but Shishang was alone. He was also quite attractive, so he immediately attracted some attention. However, Shishang didn't recognize any of those people. She only recognized the Jadewater Mountain Villa's Villa Lord. Miss Wu Zheng is also here to attend the chief assembly? The Villa Lord walked up to Shishang. Ignoring the scheming look in his eyes, his attitude wasn't bad. I can't attend? Of course not. Then isn't there something wrong with you asking this question? Aren't you here to attend the chief assembly or to kill people? Manor head. Who taught this little girl with thorns all over her body? Suppressing his anger, the Villa Lord did his best to remain calm. Miss Wu Zheng, you don't have an invitation, right? Invitations were only sent to people with status in the Jianghu. Heretical sects definitely wouldn't send invitations. What does it have to do with you whether I have an invitation or not? Why was this Villa Lord of Jadewater Mountain Villa getting close to her? Miss Wu Zheng, you don't need to be so cautious. If you don't have an invitation, I can take you in. Aren't you afraid that I'll go in and kill them all? Shishang looked at the Villa Lord with a half-smile. The Villa Lord choked, his eyes darkening. If she really went in and did something, it would implicate him. It wasn't worth it. Big sis. A cheerful voice cut in from the side. Uncle Zhong. The Villa Lord's expression relaxed when he saw the person running over. He changed the topic. Little Luo, you're here too. Amen. Bai Luo nodded. She looked at Shi Shang and asked curiously, "Big sis, you're also here to attend the chief assembly?" There was one good thing about being naive and sweet, which was that she'd forget all the bad intentions you'd shown her. Amen. Shi Shang nodded casually, then glanced behind her. Fu Yiyun wasn't there. "Where is young Master Fu?" the Manor Lord asked, as if he could read the Shi Shang's mind. Bai Luo's smile froze as a trace of sadness flashed through her eyes. She slowly lowered her head and muttered, "I don't know." Seeing Bai Luo's expression, the village lord seemed to have thought of something and patted her head like an elder. "Let's go in first." "Yeah." Bai Luo was still feeling down. The male lead must have met Lu Su and was together with her. Otherwise, Bai Luo wouldn't have such an expression. Shi Shang clicked his tongue thoughtfully and walked toward the gate of the villa. The Zhuangzhu wanted to see how Shi Shang was going to get in, so he immediately followed her. Bai Luo followed behind with her head lowered. When Shi Shang walked to the entrance to check the invitations, there was a sudden commotion behind him. "It's Master Fu." A faint voice came from afar. Bai Luo pinched her clothes and looked into the distance. Fu Yiyun and a woman walked out from the crowd, both dressed in white. The man was handsome and cold while the woman was gentle and beautiful. When they walked together, they were a perfect couple. "I don't see Zhou Ji. He must have become cannon fodder." "Xiao Luo Mimi." Lu Su was the first to see Bai Luo standing in front of them. Her expression was pleasantly surprised and worried. "Why did you run off by yourself that day? Yiyun Gij and I were very worried about you." Bai Luo looked at Fu Yiyun, who was a step behind her. Fu Yiyun's gaze only paused on her for a second before moving away. Bai Luo's eyes were filled with disappointment. He wasn't worried about her at all. "Thank you for your concern." "I'm fine," Bai Luo replied quietly. Lu Su intimately grabbed Bai Luo's hand. Bai Luo shrank back, but Lu Su secretly used more force so that she couldn't break free. Fu Yiyun was standing in front of her, so Bai Luo didn't dare to make any big movements. She could only let Lu Su hold her hand uncomfortably. Lu Su had a gentle smile on her face, but she couldn't hide the smugness in her eyes. "Did Big Sis do something wrong? Are you angry at Big Sis?" "No." Bai Luo shook her head. "Then why didn't little sister Xiao Luo tell us before leaving?" "I thought I did something wrong." Bai Luo only shook her head and tried to pull her hand back. She didn't expect that Lu Su would suddenly loosen her grip a bit. She exerted more force and Lu Su's body fell backwards. Behind her was the stairs. Bai Luo panicked and tried to grab her, but Fu Yiyun was faster. He grabbed Lu Su's waist and pulled her into his embrace. Bai Luo's hand froze in midair. "Little sis Xiao Luo." Lu Su looked at Bai Luo, still in shock. She called out weakly without questioning her. That delicate and pitiful appearance caused everyone to automatically imagine a grudge between the two of them. Shi Shang gave Lu Su a thumbs up. This was the highest level of acting like a white lotus. If it weren't for the heavens protecting her, the female lead probably wouldn't even be able to last a single blow from that person. Fu Yiyun lowered his head and asked if Lu Su was all right without looking at Bai Luo. Bai Luo's fingers trembled. She slowly withdrew her hand and lowered her head to look at the embroidered shoes peeking out from under her skirt. "I'm fine. I didn't expect little sis Xiao Luo to be so strong." Lu Su shook her head at Fu Yiyun. "She's just like that. Rash when she does things," Fu Yiyun added. Bai Luo's hands were clasped together in her sleeves as she whispered, "I'm sorry." Shi Shang shook his head and turned to leave. Who knew that Lu Su would stare at her and call out to her? Shi Shang tilted his head to look at her, a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. That smile was very faint. It was just a slight lift of the corners of her mouth, but no one could ignore her smile. "Who's that?" "Wu Zheng." "Didn't you hear that girl call her?" "Wu Zheng? Which Wu Zheng? Which Wu Zheng? How many Wu Zhang are there in the Jianghu? I heard she has a sword that's even stronger than Scarlet Heaven's sword. I wonder if that's true." Everyone looked at Shi Shang inquisitively, as if trying to figure out where she kept her iron sword. Lu Su's voice was as gentle as water. "Miss Wu Zheng, I'm very sorry about what happened last time. I didn't know." "Stop." Shi Shang reached out to stop her. "Zhou Ji left with you willingly. It had nothing to do with me. There's no need to apologize to me." Lu Su felt awkward for a moment. Her eyes darkened as she took a step back. "I was overthinking things. Please don't take it to heart, Miss Wu Zheng." She paused. "Is Miss Wu Zheng also here to participate in the Alliance Head Conference? Why don't we go in together?" White lotus flowers weren't scary. White lotus flowers who could talk weren't scary either. White lotus flowers who were scheming and could talk were the scary ones. Look at what Lu Su said. She didn't say a single word about her not having an invitation. Yet, it made everyone think that she didn't have an invitation. "I'm afraid I'll turn white," Shi Shang said with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. Lu Su naturally didn't understand. She looked at Shi Shang in confusion. Actually, Lu Su was already very impatient in her heart. This woman didn't play by the rules time and time again. But she couldn't show it on her face. She could only smile gently at Shi Shang. * Please vote. Chapter 390. Sister. Bai Luo retreated to Shi Shang's side and asked in a low voice, "Do you really have an invitation? Why don't you use mine?" With so many people watching, it would be embarrassing if she couldn't produce an invitation. Mind your own business. The female lead's habit of meddling in other people's business was a common one. Bai Luo lowered her gaze to hide the sadness in her eyes. The people around them didn't move. They seemed to be waiting for Shi Shang to see if she had an invitation. She had a chance to show off. If she didn't, she would be letting them down. Shi Shang slowly took out an invitation and placed it on the table next to him. He tapped on it with his finger to remind the person checking it. "Look carefully." The person smiled and nodded. He opened the invitation and looked at it. Then, he took out the name list and saw Wu Zheng at the end. "Miss Wu Zheng, please come in." This proved that the invitation in her hand was real. How was this possible? Why would Mingyue Mountain Villa send her an invitation? Everyone was confused. Lu Su was even more confused. This matter became a hot topic in the following days. However, Mingyue Mountain Villa didn't give a clear explanation. Some people who were close to Mingyue Mountain found out. Shi Shang and Shen Xinghai knew each other. Shen Xinghai was the younger brother of the current Alliance Master. He was also a popular candidate for the next Alliance Master. Since when did these two people hook up? It was a long story. Shi Shang met Shen Xinghai on the way to Mingyue Mountain Villa. Shen Xinghai was quite unlucky. He was drugged and lost all his martial arts. Shi Shang just wanted to find someone to test the poison she made. In the end, he bumped into Shen Xinghai, who was lying on the side of the road. Shi Shang saw that he was still breathing and carried him back to test the poison. Shen Xinghai was tortured until he was on his last breath. Shi Shang kindly found a doctor for him. Don't ask why Shi Shang was so kind. It was probably because he was in a good mood. In the end, Shen Xinghai thought that Shi Shang had saved him. No matter how Shi Shang tried to explain herself, she'd only wanted to use him to test out the poison. She'd wanted to kill him, and he'd only survived because he was lucky. But Shen Xinghai refused to listen, insisting that Shi Shang had saved him. She heard that Shi Shang was going to Mingyue Mountain Villa and even gave her an invitation. The Shi Shang couldn't do anything about this kind of self-hypnosis. Shen Xinghai was never mentioned in the plot, so he probably had nothing to do with the male and female leads. Shi Shang stayed in the villa, but Shen Xinghai didn't seem to be there. Anyway, Shi Shang didn't see him, but rumors about him and Shen Xinghai started to spread. To sum it up in a few words, they were having an affair. Shi Shang was speechless. Could anyone have an affair with her? Young Master Fu is really good to Miss Lu. Yesterday, Miss Lu only coughed a few times, and young Master Fu was so nervous that he asked us to call a doctor. Young Master Fu is also so handsome. I'm so lucky to be able to marry young Master Fu. If young Master Fu takes a fancy to me, I'm even willing to be a nun in my next life. In your dreams. Young Master Fu already has Miss Lu by his side. There's no place for anyone else. Several servant maids walked past Bai Luo, their laughter and banter seemingly taking root in her ears, unable to be erased no matter what she did. Bai Luo walked forward in a daze. Suddenly, she kicked an object. She slowly looked down. It was an embroidered pouch. She didn't know who dropped it here. Bai Luo picked it up. She wanted to bring it to the villa's steward, but after walking around in circles, she ended up back where she started. She sat down beside the pond dejectedly. Little sister Xiao Luo. Bai Luo looked up and saw a woman in a light yellow dress walking towards her with a smile on her face. By the time Shi Shang heard the news that Bai Luo had almost died in the water, it was already evening. If one of the servant maids hadn't gone back to look for the pouch, Bai Luo would have probably drowned in the pond. Miss Bai's fever hasn't subsided. The doctor said that if it doesn't subside soon, she'll be in danger. One of the servant maids serving Shi Shang told him the latest news. Apparently, this servant maids had been sent by Shen Xinghai to serve her. Shi Shang ate his porridge without a change in expression. How did she fall in? I don't know. No one saw. If little Z hadn't gone back to look for the embroidered pouch, she would have. The servant maids didn't continue. Shi Shang put down his bowl. How could the favored female lead die so easily? Miss, aren't you eating? The servant maids asked quietly when she saw that Shi Shang only had one bowl of porridge. Is the porridge not to your liking? The second young master had said that they had to serve this miss well. If anything happened, they couldn't bear the consequences. It's fine. Shi Shang wiped his mouth and stood up. The Alliance head meeting will start tomorrow, right? Yes, it will officially start tomorrow. The servant maids packed up with a frown. The food must have been to her liking. She would have the kitchen change the taste tomorrow. After the servant maids finished packing, she left the room. On the way to the kitchen, she met a few other maids. They pulled her aside and asked her carefully, "Is Miss Wu Zheng very hard to serve? She has a bad reputation in the Jianghu. Little Kai, you have to be careful." Little Kai smiled. Miss Wu Zheng has a good temper. Ever since she entered to serve her, she had never seen her lose her temper. She could even chat with her occasionally. She was a very easy person to get along with. She didn't know why people said that she was vicious and merciless. Is that so? The maids clearly didn't believe her. Little Kai nodded. I'm going to do something first. Let's chat again when I have time. Little Kai, be careful. The others were still worried. When Little Kai returned to the room, Shi Shang was already lying on the rocking chair with his eyes closed. She didn't know if he was asleep or just resting. Little Kai didn't dare disturb him and quietly left. She really didn't think that this miss was as scary as people said. The next day, Shi Shang woke up very early. After breakfast, Little Kai took him to the arena. There were 3 arenas in total. The competition would be held in the ring. In this kind of competition, most people would conserve their energy and fight until the end. Therefore, there wasn't much to see in the early stages. Because of Shen Xinghai, Shi Shang easily sat in the same row as the current alliance head, Shen Xingyang. Shen Xinghai was an old man and was more than 20 years older than his older brother, Shen Xingyang. The two of them looked somewhat similar, but Shen Xingyang was more masculine and burly. He sized up Shi Shang curiously. Shi Shang was sitting with his legs crossed and eating sunflower seeds. Sensing Shen Xingyang's gaze, he glanced sideways. Their gazes met in the air. Shen Xingyang nodded and switched seats with the person next to him. Miss Wu Zheng saved my younger brother. I've been so busy these past few days that I didn't have time to personally thank you. Shi Shang. I already said that I didn't intend to save him. Shi Shang threw away the sunflower seeds in his hand. Alliance head Shin, I didn't save second young Master Shin. Really, believe me. I wanted to kill him at that time. Shen Xingyang was unmoved and continued smiling. Miss Wu Zheng is a little different from the rumors. Those rumors were mostly false. They were similar to the rumors spread by that idiot Jiang Zhan. But what she said was true. Shen Xinghai, how did you brainwash your older brother? Asterisk thank you to the cherub who tipped me, please vote, please vote. Chapter 391. Shen Xingyang said that he would treat Shi Shang to a meal after today. Shi Shang looked up at the sky in despair. She reckoned she'd have to kill Shen Xinghai in front of Shen Xingyang for him to believe that she'd really wanted to kill him back then. But Shen Xinghai wasn't here, so she couldn't carry out this plan. Shen Xingyang was a busy man, so he naturally wouldn't chat with Shi Sheng. He quickly sat back down. But the others had different thoughts. There were already rumors that she had an affair with Shen Xinghai. Now that they saw Shen Xinghai's brother chatting happily with her, wasn't this just confirming the rumors? For a moment, Shi Shang's attention was much higher than the arena. Shi Shang was speechless at this group of people. He felt that they had walked into the wrong theater. This is AF King sadistic novel. What's wrong with you idiots? Is there a novel with a funny style next door? This is a series of novels. The other male lead is Shen Xinghai. It's a pampering novel. It doesn't break the character setting. The system considerately explained. Shi Shang. No wonder Shen Xinghai didn't die even after so much torture. Damn, the male lead died for nothing. System, your ability to fix bugs is getting more and more awesome. Thank you for the compliment. Asterisk flips table asterisk who the F asterisk CK is praising you? Your master's face is completely ruined by you. Can there be 4 protagonists in the same world? The system didn't answer Shi Sheng. It was probably afraid that she would try to get information out of it. Shi Shang secretly wondered what would happen if she killed Shen Xinghai in this world. Host, don't have such dangerous thoughts. The system felt tired. It really didn't want to serve this host. Didn't you go offline? Why did you pop up again? I was afraid that you would go the wrong way. Was it easy? Where did Shen Xinghai go? Because you forcefully picked him up. You missed him meeting the female lead. Now he's going to meet the female lead. Shi Shang. It's my fault again? Who knew that she would be so lucky that she could pick up another male lead so casually? Okay, it was her fault. She shouldn't have picked up the female lead's things. Who was the female lead? The system didn't say anything. It didn't dare to say that. What if the host didn't know what to do and rushed up to get rid of the other female lead? The system didn't answer her. Shi Shang shook his head and didn't care about it anymore. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't. Without the plot and memories, who the hell knew who the female lead was? By the end of the first day's competition, none of the most promising candidates had gone up on stage. Fu Yun didn't even show his face. Shi Shang went back the way he came. When he passed by a courtyard, he saw many people gathered outside. Shi Shang looked inside curiously, but there were too many people in the way. He couldn't see what was going on inside. Miss, wait a moment. I'll go ask. Little Kai was very perceptive. Xiao Kai's popularity was not bad. When she went over, someone told her what had happened. She jogged back with a strange expression. Miss Bai and Miss Lu quarreled. Miss Bai said that Miss Lu pushed her into the pond. Oh? That was quick. Who's Fu Yun helping? Little Kai shook her head. They were outside, so no one knew what was going on inside. Shi Shang raised his brows slightly. It's starting. TSK. About 3 to 4 minutes later, Fu Yun came out with Lu Su. Lu Su softly advised Fu Yun. Fu Yun's expression wasn't too good, but he patiently listened to Lu Su. If it weren't for Bai Luo, Fu Yun would really be a good man. Yun Gij, little sister Xiao Luo is just muddle-headed from her illness. Don't be angry. When she recovers, we'll talk to her. Lu Su and Fu Yun passed by Shi Sheng not far away, and Shi Sheng heard every word Lu Su said. What do you think of this woman? Shi Sheng asked Little Kai. Little Kai lowered her head, her attitude respectful. Miss, this servant doesn't dare to casually talk about guests. Stay away from this kind of woman in the future. Who knew when she'd fall into a trap? Little Kai was slightly surprised. This Miss Lu had a good personality. Everyone praised her and envied her. Why would Miss Wu Zhang say that? That night, Shi Shang was invited to dinner by Shen Xingyang. Shi Shang was in charge of eating the entire time, so he only replied politely to Shen Xingyang. Shen Xingyang didn't make things difficult for her and had someone send her back after dinner. The next few days were the single elimination matches. One by one, more people went up, and more people were eliminated. Ever since that day, Bai Luo's illness had been dragging on. On the last day of the single elimination matches, Shen Xinghai still hadn't returned. He definitely wasn't fated to become the alliance head. Fu Yun stayed behind, elegantly and handsomely taking care of the others. No one else dared to challenge him. Is there anyone else who wants to come up? The host shouted with all his might. The audience was silent. Since there are no more challengers, Sir Fu and Alliance Head Shen will spar tomorrow to choose the next Alliance Head. If no one has any objections, please come early tomorrow. That's right. Winning the single elimination matches wasn't enough. They still had to fight the current Alliance Head and defeat him. Wait a moment. This shout successfully attracted everyone's attention. Shi Shang was sitting higher up, so he immediately saw a black figure walking over from behind the crowd. What are you blocking the way for? Move aside. Can't you see eye size? Shi Shang face-bombed. This villain who kneels in front of everyone, can you please be a little more pretentious? Look at the others. They either flew out or took the initiative to make way for them. You even have to make people move aside manually. Jiang Zhan rushed over from somewhere. His clothes were dirty, and a round puppy followed behind him. Its short tail wagged from side to side, looking very adorable. This puppy seemed to be the one Jiang Zhan brought with him when he challenged Fu Yun to a duel, right? How come it's still so small after a few months? Jiang Zhan jumped off the stage. The puppy couldn't jump up, so it barked at Jiang Zhan. Jiang Zhan jumped down again and picked it up. The audience. Was this idiot here to be funny? Sect Master Jiang, may I ask why you're here? Shen Xingyang was the alliance head. Now that the great demon had arrived, he could only stand up and speak to Jiang Zhan as a representative. Jiang Zhan stroked the puppy. Of course I'm here to take revenge for last time. If Sect Master Jiang has any grudges with Sir Fu, please settle them privately. Today, we're here to fight. Jiang Zhan immediately changed his tune. Then I'll fight. Shen Xingyang. Sect Master Jiang, this is a martial arts alliance head selection. How can you fight? A few bolder people shouted up. I think Sect Master Jiang should go back and get married. Don't you think so, everyone? Ha ha ha. The crowd below roared with laughter, all talking about Jiang Zhan's appearance. A grown man actually looked like a woman. Jiang Zhan was already immune to others talking about his appearance, but that didn't mean he wouldn't take action. Those who laughed the loudest only felt a gust of wind blow past them, and their bodies turned cold. Ah! A woman in the crowd suddenly shrieked. Those people looked down and saw that their bodies were actually naked. They clamped their butts together and covered their private parts, glaring at Jiang Zhan with flushed faces. Asterisk, please vote. Chapter 392. Shi Shang couldn't bear to look and averted his gaze. She didn't want to see this sect master's style at all. It was simply dirtying her eyes. Are you fighting or not? Jiang Zhan ignored the screams below the stage and pointed Scarlet Heaven at Fu Yun. The snow-white puppy was circling around his feet, occasionally playing with his clothes in its mouth. It should have been a domineering scene, but because of this puppy, it was no longer a joke. Fu Yun looked coldly at Zhang Zhan, neither accepting nor refusing. With Zhang Zhan's temper, he simply took it as Fu Yun's answer and charged over with Scarlet Heaven. The puppy was flipped over on the ground and whimpered twice, protesting its owner's violent behavior. Shi Shang had already predicted that Zhang Zhan would be slapped in the face. What an embarrassment to her. As expected, in less than 20 moves, Zhang Zhan was sent flying off the stage by Fu Yun, cutting a sorry figure. The people below the stage were also very confused. Wasn't this villain invincible? How did he die so easily? They could still understand last time since he and Wu Zhang had attacked first, but this time, Fu Yun was clearly at a disadvantage. Several people immediately surrounded Zhang Zhan. Demon Jiang, let's see how you run this time. Zhang Zhan's expression contorted, then he suddenly roared at Shi Shang, Sect Master, save me. Shi Shang, hallucinations, I must be hallucinating. Who are you calling Sect Master? Demon Jiang, don't disturb us. Zhang Zhan pointed at Shi Shang. She's our demon sect's new sect master. Shi Shang. Lord Villain, are you trying to trick your own teammates? BBB, was just watching a show. Who did I offend? Everyone's gazes towards Shi Shang immediately turned strange. Most of them were sizing him up in confusion. Was this a dog-eat-dog situation? For the sake of survival, he didn't even want the sect master's throne. Miss Wu Zheng? Give me an explanation. Shen Xingyang looked at Shi Shang. Shi Shang slowly stood up and jumped off the stage, roughly shoving aside the people surrounding Zhang Zhan. Everyone immediately drew their weapons. They didn't even have time to say their lines. Shi Shang held Zhang Zhan down and gave him a good beating. Wu Zheng, you lunatic. Now is the time for us to unite against the outside world. Why did you slap me? Zhang Zhan sucked in a breath of cold air. It hurt so much. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Shi Shang scolded as he whipped her. He had never seen such a stupid villain. The stupidest person in history. Has your IQ been eaten by that little puppy of yours? What the F***CK? After finishing the Shi Shang, he turned his iron sword and pointed it at the people who were about to surround him. What? You want to kill me? Miss Wu Zheng, leave Zhang Zhan to us. Shi Shang said arrogantly, I would rather chop up Ai's men and feed them to the dogs than give them to you. Chop them up and feed them to the dogs. The puppy wagged its tail happily in the arena, as if it was looking forward to the taste of its owner. Zhang Zhan crossed his arms and glared at Shi Shang angrily. This woman actually wanted to chop him up and feed him to the dogs. The saying that a woman's heart was the most vicious was not wrong at all. Wu Zheng, you really are in cahoots with the demon sect. Her words were undoubtedly admitting what Zhang Zhan had said. No matter how she made Zhang Zhan give up the position of sect leader, she was now a member of the demon sect and a target of their encirclement. Don't make it sound so bad. I'm leading the demon sect to become rich. Pfft, leading the demon sect to become rich? Was there something wrong with her? Fine, I won't waste my breath with you. If you want to kill me, just come at me. So much nonsense. You've already made a child. Everyone looked at each other. This Wu Zheng was really arrogant and conceited. Shi Xingyang didn't say anything. The people around him were discussing fervently. Finally, someone couldn't take it anymore and jumped out. Today, I'll see what kind of heaven-defying abilities Grandma Yao's disciple has. Can you do it? Zhang Zhan asked doubtfully. Shi Shang was annoyed. If I can't do it, you'll do it? Zhang Zhan exploded. Fine, I'll do it. He was a man. Did he need a woman to stand in front of him? It was obvious that Zhang Zhan had completely forgotten who had tricked Shi Shang into coming here. Shi Shang's mouth twitched. Fine, don't cause trouble for I. Take your puppy and stand further away. Swords have no eyes. Shi Shang held her wrist with her left hand and spun it a few times. The iron sword stirred in the air. She looked at the person opposite her with a sinister expression. That person felt his scalp go numb. His chest rose and fell rapidly as he screamed and rushed out. Ah! He sprinted toward Shi Sheng. The people around them all retreated and made way for him. Shi Sheng stood still and watched the person charge over quietly. Everyone couldn't help but hold their breaths. Just when the person was half a meter away from Shi Sheng, she quickly raised her arm. Pucci! The sharp weapon pierced through flesh. The person froze in his tracks and looked at Shi Sheng in disbelief. The light in his eyes was slowly fading. One move. One move. How could this be? Shi Sheng smiled and pulled out his sword. Then he kicked the person. When the person fell to the ground, he was already dead. The person on the other side quickly checked and pointed at Shi Sheng angrily. Demonis, you cheated. How did I cheat? Shi Sheng raised her eyebrows. I didn't even know that I cheated. How could you tell that I cheated? Amazing. You didn't take out your weapon earlier. If you didn't cheat, then what did you do? Shi Sheng sneered. Her sarcastic voice echoed throughout the room. It's my own business whether I take out my weapon or not. How can you blame others for being too powerful when you're so stupid? That person's face darkened. Was this woman calling him stupid in a roundabout way? Everyone, let's kill this demonis and the devil. Kill. Zhang Zhan, who was innocently implicated, was speechless. Why did she include him in this? The scene instantly became chaotic. A group of people surrounded Shi Sheng and Zhang Zhan. Shi Sheng's iron sword could kill a row of people with a single sweep. After witnessing the power of the iron sword, those who were afraid of death went to surround Zhang Zhan. Only those who coveted the iron sword attacked Shi Sheng. But they often fell under the iron sword before they could even touch the iron sword. The afterglow of the setting sun dyed the area blood-red. The ground was stained with blood, and the shadows of swords and knives flew everywhere. Shi Sheng's expression didn't change from beginning to end. It was as if she wasn't killing people, but lifeless plants. With a single swing of her sword, she cut down a row. Zhang Zhan was somewhat exhausted. A person's stamina was limited, after all. But when he saw how relaxed Shi Sheng was, he gritted his teeth and continued to swing his sword. He couldn't lose to a woman. Perhaps because Shi Sheng had killed too many people, Fu Yiyun and Shen Xingyang finally joined the battle. Shi Sheng suddenly aimed at Fu Yiyun and attacked him. Fu Yiyun clearly didn't know why she liked him so much. There were so many people around, but she still wouldn't let him go. Shi Sheng knew that he couldn't kill Fu Yiyun, but it would be good if he could cripple him. Each strike was more ruthless than the last. Fu Yiyun was a bit overwhelmed. If not for Shen Xingyang's help, he suspected that he would have been cut down several times already. This woman's internal energy wasn't very strong. What was powerful was the sword in her hand. Normal weapons could be broken with a single slash, as if she were cutting a carrot. Little fairy. Does killing feel good? Shi Sheng, little fairy, why aren't you saying anything? Shi Sheng. Cutting fruits isn't fun. Passers-by. Who are you calling a fruit? Fight me one-on-one if you dare. Shi Sheng. Cutting carrots isn't fun. Chapter 393. Bam! Fu Yiyun fell from the sky and crashed into the arena, his white robe stained red with blood. The stench of blood in the air was so thick that it was nauseating. Shi Sheng spun around and landed on the ground. Her skirt was like a blooming flower. Her sword was stained with blood. Drops of blood dripped onto the arena and soon formed a small pool of blood. Wu Zheng. Fu Yiyun clutched his chest and looked up at the woman standing in front of him. Her head was slightly lowered, as if she was looking at him, but he couldn't see himself in her eyes. It was as if she was looking at an object, a lifeless object. Everything around her seemed to fade into the background, as if she was the only ruler of this world. Fu Yiyun was shocked by this thought. He didn't know why he would have such a thought. Wu Zheng, do you want to make an enemy out of the entire martial arts world? The people below the arena shouted, trying to attract her attention and save Fu Yun. Shi Sheng naturally didn't give them the chance. The moment that person finished speaking, her iron sword had already sunk into Fu Yun's chest. The blade spun 360 degrees around his chest, causing Fu Yun's face to turn deathly pale. Dark red blood seeped through his white robes and quickly dyed his chest crimson. Shi Sheng pulled out her sword and prepared to stab again, but the sound of something breaking through the air came from behind her. She turned around and swung her iron sword wildly. Countless tiny silver needles hit the iron sword and fell around her. By the time Shi Sheng finished dealing with the needles and looked back at the ground, Fu Yun had already been taken away. Only the bloodstains on the ground showed that someone had been here just now. These people probably knew that they couldn't beat Shi Sheng, so they began to retreat. Zhang Zhan looked at the retreating people and leaned tiredly against the arena. His hands were so sore that he couldn't even lift them. "Wu Zheng, are you made of iron?" He turned to ask the woman standing in the arena. Her face wasn't red, and she wasn't panting. She even stood so straight, as if she wasn't the one fighting just now. Shi Sheng jumped down from the arena. His legs were weak, so he used his iron sword to prop himself up and put on the air of an expert. "How can these stupid mortals compare to my realm?" Posa Shang was online. "Stay." Zhang Zhan gave Shi Shang a disdainful look before reminding him, "Let's leave quickly. Otherwise, those people will come back." Shi Shang held the iron sword and did not move. As expected, he had used up a lot of energy and needed to rest. Zhang Zhan had already stood up. Seeing that Shi Shang didn't move, he urged, "Crazy woman, let's go. Do you still want to fight with them? I'm telling you, I don't have that much energy." Shi Shang glared at him fiercely. "Why are you rushing me? If it wasn't for you, would I have fought them?" Zhang Zhan choked. After a while, he said dryly, "Let's go through hardships together." "Who told you to steal Ai's sect master? Moreover, how did he know that she would start a fight at the slightest disagreement?" Shi Shang rested for about 5 minutes before he pulled out his iron sword and left. Zhang Zhan hurriedly followed. After leaving Mingyue Villa, Shi Shang randomly chose a direction to walk in. When she came across a small stream, she stopped and directly jumped in to wash herself with her clothes. Her clothes were stained with blood, and the bright red blood flowed into the distance along the stream. After washing herself clean, she went ashore, squeezed out the remaining inner energy in her body, and dried her clothes. Zhang Zhan squatted by the stream and washed his puppy. Shi Shang looked at the puppy in confusion. Where did he shove it in just now? The puppy flopped about in the water, splashing Zhang Zhan's face. "This idiot." That chaotic battle was called the First Battle of the Chaotic Jianghu era by the people later on. Shi Shang left unharmed, while the righteous sects lost more than half of their members. Even Fu Yun was heavily injured. "Yun Gij, drink your medicine." Lu Su sat by the bed with the pills in her hands, her voice gentle. Fu Yun leaned against the bed. When he saw Lu Su, his frosty expression softened slightly. He smiled. "Don't you have servants? Why did you personally come to deliver the medicine?" Lu Su's face was slightly red, looking a bit shy. "Su wants to personally take care of Yun Gij. It's been hard on you these past few days." Fu Yun took Lu Su's hand. "It's not hard at all. Su feels very blessed." Lu Su smiled gently. "Yun Gij, drink your medicine. It's cold." A trace of gentleness flashed through Fu Yun's eyes as he took the bowl and drank the medicine. Lu Su stayed with Fu Yun for a while before leaving the room. She hadn't gone far when she heard Shen Xingyang talking to Fu Yun's physician. Her figure flashed, and she hid in the shadows. Although Sir Fu's poison was cured last time, there are still some remnants. Now that he's so heavily injured, it'll be difficult for him to recover. The physician's voice was grave. Shen Xingyang said in a low voice, "What methods do you have? Just tell me." He and Fu Yun's father were old friends. Now that his son had gotten into such a big accident here, He couldn't let him suffer any sequelae. I need several medicinal ingredients. The physician listed several names, many of which Shan Xingyang had never heard of before. Medicinal ingredients alone aren't enough. We also need golden sand. I've only heard that Granny Medicine had it. Since she passed away, it should be in the hands of her disciple, Wu Zheng. What's golden sand? Fu Yun's injuries were caused by Wu Zheng, so she definitely wouldn't take it out. Thinking of that woman, Shan Xingyang sighed inwardly. Now that such a big thing had happened, those people would probably blame it on him. It's a type of bug. Because the place where it's raised requires sand ground from gold, it's named golden sand. Lu Su didn't continue listening and left with an unsightly expression. She didn't see Bai Luo standing on the other side with a complicated expression. One major event after another happened in the Zhonghu. The demon sect had a new leader, and the new leader was the famous demoness, Wu Zheng. Demoness Wu Zheng had caused havoc at the Alliance Head Assembly and started a massacre, causing the deaths of many heroes in the Zhonghu. The entire Zhonghu was in turmoil. The war between the righteous and evil factions had officially begun. The demon sect, led by the recently risen Bloodkill sect, didn't make any moves. It was as if they weren't the ones who had started this war. Shi Shang was currently supervising the repairs, so how could he have the time to care about what the people outside were doing? Gu Yu was standing on the roof, absorbing the essence of the sun and moon. Steward Ting Feng took care of everything, both big and small. He was as tired as a dog. Shi Shang looked up at Gu Yu, who was dazzled by the sunlight. Is this guy really going to turn into a demon? Sect leader, why don't you ask Gu Yu to help me? Ting Feng complained in Shi Shang's ear. Look, I'm in charge of the repairs, and I have to take care of everyone's daily needs. I wish I could split myself into two. He doesn't even listen to your former sect leader, so how can he listen to me? The former sect leader, Jiang Zhan, was walking his dog when he heard Shi Shang calling him out. He scampered over. Fight with him. If you win, don't talk about having him do things for you, he'll even warm your bed for you. Shi Shang gave Jiang Zhan an odd look. So you can't even beat your family's enforcer? Sect leader, you're amazing. Where did you get the confidence to challenge Fu Yun? Do you really think you're as amazing as the rumors say? Jiang Zhan's expression stiffened. He turned to the puppy on the ground. Let's go, little Zhengzi. Let's go over there. Shi Shang narrowed his eyes and reached out to grab Jiang Zhan's collar. What did you call it just now? Asterisk pleading for votes T-TME school tickets are getting fewer and fewer. Woo woo, my heart hurts. Chapter 394. The disciples of the Devil sect witnessed the scene of their former sect master being taught a lesson by the current sect master. It was very violent and bloody, not suitable for children. Jiang Zhan refused to accept it and scolded Shi Shang loudly. In the end, he was beaten until he had no more energy to scold. Shi Shang and Gu Yu fought. Just as Jiang Zhan said, after the fight, Gu Yu obeyed Shi Shang's every word and hit wherever Shi Shang told him to. She even hit Jiang Zhan. If Shi Shang had known this protector was so useful, he would have beaten him up earlier. Sect master, it's not good. A disciple ran in from outside. What's not good? Shi Shang asked calmly. The disciple gasped for breath and said quickly, Sect Master Jiang took a few people down the mountain. So what? What does it have to do with me? If he went down the mountain, did he have to be his bodyguard? But the disciple said weakly, Sect Master Jiang took away the left and right protectors. What the hell? He took away both of her left and right protectors? Villain, are you going to rebel? Why did they go down the mountain? The disciple shook his head. No one knew why Jiang Zhan went down the mountain. They only knew that they had been gathering together and whispering to each other for the past few days. Shi Shang was so angry that he stopped repairing the house and went down the mountain to chase after Jiang Zhan. Jiang Zhan took a lot of people with him. The Devil sect had more than 100 people, but he only took a dozen people with him. With such a large group, it was easy for Shi Shang to ask them which direction they had gone. Sect Master. This seems to be the direction back to Mount D. The disciple who followed Shi Shang down the mountain said doubtfully. Mount D. Why did Zhang Zhan go back to the Devil Sect's former headquarters? Shi Shang found many people were rushing in this direction. Shi Shang didn't hide and some people recognized him. They couldn't escape from a chaotic battle. When Shi Shang fought all the way to Mount D, many people had already gathered at the foot of the mountain. What's going on? Holding a meeting at the Devil Sect's former site? Shi Shang sent people to look for Zhang Zhan separately. Zhang Zhan wasn't hard to find since the Devil Sect had a special way to contact them. They were in a relatively remote place. Zhang Zhan was obviously surprised to see Shi Shang come looking for him. His expression changed several times before he finally yelled fiercely, "What are you doing here?" Shi Shang sneered. "What am I here for? You have the nerve to ask me, what do you mean by abducting my protector? What do you mean by your protector?" "This is my protector." Zhang Zhan was unconvinced. "Now, the entire devil cult is mine." Zhang Zhan's face was flushed red, and he was so angry that he couldn't speak. "Speak. What are you doing here? What are those people doing outside?" Shi Shang's gaze swept over Ting Feng and Guyu. Guyu did not speak with a cold face. Ting Feng glanced at Zhang Zhan. Zhang Zhan glared at him, causing him to shrink back. "These people want to dig up our ancestral graves," he whispered. "Shi Shang. Are you kidding I?" Now, the whole Jianghu was fighting. These people had nothing better to do but come to dig up the ancestral graves of the Devil Sect. Would they be able to kill off all the people of the Devil Sect? Is your family's ancestral tomb that powerful? It's true. Seeing that Shi Shang didn't believe him, Ting Feng emphasized. "This has nothing to do with you. Take them back." Zhang Zhan looked at Shi Shang. "I'll leave the Devil Sect to you from now on." "You're crazy." Shi Shang rolled his eyes. The Devil Sect was hers to begin with. Zhang Zhan's hair stood on end. "Wu Jing, don't think I don't dare hit you. Can you beat me?" Shi Shang's smile was a bit infuriating. Zhang Zhan's face flushed red again. Shi Shang ignored Zhang Zhan and analyzed, "They can't be here for the ancestral graves. They must be here for something else." Zhang Zhan snorted. "You're the best." "Yes, I'm better than you." "What kind of sect leader is he if he can't even beat his own protector?" Shi Shang retorted mercilessly. She even dared to hit Feng Ci, much less someone who wasn't even Feng Ci. Zhang Zhan. "That's enough." Shi Shang picked two of the smarter ones and had them blend into the crowd to listen to what they had to say. The others rested where they were. What puzzled Shi Shang was that most of the people in the crowd didn't know what they were here for. They just followed their leaders. But those leaders clearly weren't easy to approach. "What good stuff does the Devil Sect have?" Shi Shang asked Zhang Zhan, who was playing with his dog. "You didn't even forget to bring your dog here." "Impressive, my sect leader. What good stuff could there be?" Zhang Zhan replied in a huff. "Back then, they burned it all. What else could there be?" Mount D was very tall, but from below, they could see a pitch-black mountain wall. It was probably the Devil Sect's former buildings. Shi Shang shook his head. He didn't want to talk to an idiot. Keep an eye on him. Don't let him run around. Shi Shang ordered Ting Feng and Guyu. "If he runs, you two will be punished together." "Wu Jing." Zhang Zhan stood up angrily. "I told you to go back. Why is a woman like you getting involved?" Shi Shang thought it would be better to tie him up. Not only was he impulsive, he was also weak. If it weren't for the Devil Sect's former reputation, how could he have become a villain? In the end, Zhang Zhan was tied up and gagged. It was much quieter this way. Shi Shang circled around the back of those people and approached them from the side. There was a forest below Mount D, which provided Shi Shang with an excellent cover. "What are we doing here?" "I don't know." This used to be the devil sect's headquarters. Is there something here? Didn't the devil sect burn it all down back then? Are you stupid? What's up here? What's down here? Didn't you see that the Heaven's Secret sect, which specializes in mechanisms, is here? What is it that's worth such a big fuss? I don't know. We'll know once we get in. Don't worry. Most of the people had similar guesses. They didn't know what they were here for. Shang listened for a while and prepared to approach those people who seemed to be higher-ups. Just as she was about to jump down from the tree, she heard footsteps in the distance. Shang immediately restrained his aura. Two figures appeared in front of Shang. One of them was someone she knew, Lu Su. She didn't know the other man, but he looked quite handsome. However, there was a sinister look in his eyes. He didn't give off a good feeling. The two of them looked around. After confirming that there was no one around, Lu Su lowered her voice. Her tone was cautious and full of admiration. He's very vigilant. I can't get it for now. This man should be the person behind Lu Su. In the original plot, Lu Su had always been helping this man. The man placed his palm on Lu Su's shoulder and slowly slid it down to her neck. He closed his fingers and said in a hoarse voice, I think you can't bear to do it, right? Lu Su shook her head with a pale face. No. Then why didn't you poison him? The man asked coldly. You can't bear to see your old lover, right? No. I poisoned him, but I don't know what he ate before. The poison didn't work. Lu Su shook her head and held the man's hand with both hands. She leaned towards the man and whispered, Master, I like you. I'm only loyal to you. Asterisk, please vote. Chapter 395. The man seemed pleased and let go of Lu Su's neck. You better not lie to me. I wouldn't dare. Lu Su whispered. The man lifted her chin and kissed her without the slightest hint of gentleness. By the time the man let go of Lu Su, her face was flushed red and she looked at the man with seductive eyes. After you help me do this, I'll marry you. The man ignored Lu Su's hint and handed her a porcelain bottle. Be good. Don't ever do anything that makes me unhappy. Lu Su took the bottle. Yes. The man quickly left. Lu Su held the bottle for a moment before leaving as well. Shang remembered that Lu Su had also poisoned Fu Yiyun in the original plot. This scene was the climax of the novel. That poison was especially potent and had no antidote. Fu Yiyun survived because the female lead and Fu Yiyun exchanged blood. However, the female lead had become an ugly woman because of this. In ancient times, blood exchange didn't take blood type into consideration. She was more curious about how the exchange took place. Shang discovered that Fu Yiyun was also there. Lu Su pretended that nothing had happened and returned to Fu Yiyun's side. The two of them were in a very intimate position. Since they were too far away, he couldn't hear what they were saying. The leaders stood at the very front and spoke very softly. Even with internal energy, he couldn't hear what they were saying. Shang circled around a few times before returning the way he came. The demon sect members had hunted a rabbit from somewhere and were roasting it. These people really weren't nervous at all. They were facing away from the other side, so they couldn't see the situation if they didn't turn around. Shang allowed them to roast the rabbit. Woo-woo. Zhang, who was tied up like a dumpling, immediately began to struggle when he saw Shang return. Shang walked over and untied him. Pa! Wu Zheng, you dare tie me up? Ow! What are you doing? Zhang clutched his arm and backed away. Shang's expression was calm. I'll prove it to you. Not only do I dare to tie you up, I dare to strangle you too. Zhang. This lunatic. He was so despicable when he was young, and he's still so despicable now that he's grown up. Sect Master, eat. Ting Feng handed the roasted meat to Shang. Zhang exploded. Ting Feng, I's your sect master. Ting Feng hurriedly passed a rabbit leg to Zhang Zhan. Shi Shang. This idiot. The people on the other side didn't move until the sky turned dark. It was a dark and windy night. Zhang Zhan slowly opened his eyes and nudged Ting Feng and Guyu, who were sleeping beside him. Both of them were light sleepers, so they woke up easily. Zhang Zhan raised his index finger to his lips, indicating for them not to make a sound. Shi Shang leaned against a tree trunk in the distance with her head tilted to the other side. Zhang Zhan observed her for a while. After making sure that her breathing was steady and she was asleep, he slowly got up and carefully moved outside. Ting Feng and Guyu looked at each other and followed carefully. The three of them moved to the periphery and quickly disappeared into the darkness. Shi Shang moved his head and turned around. His eyes were wide open as he stared in the direction where they had disappeared. After a few minutes, he closed his eyes. The next day, the group of cult members discovered that the former cult leader and the two protectors had disappeared. Only the puppy was left. The group of people was very nervous. Who would have thought that the current cult leader wasn't nervous at all? He even told them to pack up and return home. Cult leader. We're leaving just like that? The former cult leader and protectors were both gone. Weren't they going to look for them? Or are we going to throw our lives away? Shi Shang asked expressionlessly. Since Zhang Zhan wanted to show off so much, then she'd let him go. It had nothing to do with her. Although the group was somewhat unwilling, they didn't dare to say anything after Shi Shang's violent threats. They packed up and left. Zhang Zhan climbed up MTD that very night. The place where the building used to be was now in ruins. He searched for a long time before finding the entrance to the underground palace. Ting Feng and Guyu were silent after entering the palace. The faint light illuminated their solemn expressions. The underground palace was divided into several levels. Zhang Zhan went all the way down and stopped at the last level. Cult leader, did the people outside come here? Ting Feng couldn't help but ask. Zhang Zhan looked at the rows of memorial tablets in front of him. The tablets enshrined the cult's past cult leaders and cult members. He walked to the front and bowed to one of the tablets. They're looking for treasure. Zhang Zhan's eyes were cold as he turned around. Do you know about the treasure map that's been circulating in the previous dynasty? Ting Feng nodded. The previous dynasty had been destroyed for almost 300 years, but rumors about the treasure left behind by the previous dynasty had been circulating in the Jianghu. Rumor had it that one could find the treasure as long as they found the treasure map. However, no one had ever found the treasure map. In Ting Feng's eyes, the treasure was nothing more than a groundless dream. But now that Zhang Zhan had suddenly asked such a question, he had some guesses. The treasure is down here. Zhang Zhan tapped the ground with his foot. Ting Feng's eyes widened. There really was? Guyu was expressionless. He probably wasn't interested in these worldly things. The first cult leader of the demon cult was hunted down because of these things. Zhang Zhan's voice echoed in the underground palace. He slowly narrated a story that neither Ting Feng nor Guyu had heard before. Back then, the first cult leader was determined to be a hero. He accidentally came across a treasure map and successfully found the treasure. He wanted to use these treasures to help those poor people, but it was this move that brought him a fatal disaster. In the end, he hid in Mount D and established the demon cult. After that, the secret of the treasure was passed down orally by the cult leader. Zhang Zhan only learned about it right before his father's death. I want to destroy this place. Zhang Zhan concluded. Ting Feng hadn't finished digesting the information when he heard Zhang Zhan's words. He looked at him in astonishment. Why destroy it? How? Guyu's question was much simpler. There's a chance we won't be able to leave. Zhang Zhan's tone turned serious. You still have a chance to leave. Although Ting Feng didn't understand why he had to destroy those things, he understood his status. Cult leader, we grew up with you. Naturally, we'll listen to you. Zhang Zhan patted their shoulders. There's already explosives buried here. We didn't have time to detonate them back then. There's a total of 3 directions. You just need to ignite them at the same time. There's an underground tunnel at each location. If you run fast enough, you should be able to leave. Guyu walked in the direction Zhongzhan pointed. Halfway there, he suddenly turned back. Cult leader, did you decide to let us accept Wu Zheng long ago? The demon cult wasn't that easy to subdue. If Zhongzhan hadn't given them the order, they wouldn't have acknowledged her even if they died. Zhongzhan shook his head, his gaze distant. At first, I just wanted her to have a place to shelter her from the wind and rain. He never thought that this matter would be exposed. He thought that the devil sect would be burned to ashes and this matter would be buried forever. Who knew that someone would suddenly expose it? Sometimes, there were actually many people who knew about secrets. Cult leader. Ting Feng was stunned. Guyu turned around and continued walking without hesitation. Thank you to the cherub who tipped me, please vote. Chapter 396. The people at the foot of the mountain climbed up MTD the next morning. Only a small portion of them went up, while the majority remained below. Around noon, a violent explosion suddenly occurred on the mountain. After the first explosion, more and more explosions occurred within the mountain. The whole of MTD began to shake, and rocks began to crumble as they swept downwards. The people who were still in shock began to flee. MTD faced the sea on one side, so most of the mountain had collapsed into the sea. However, there were still a lot of rocks and soil that fell down from the sky. Some of the rocks smashed down from the sky and directly hit some people. This was probably an unforeseen calamity. It ended before it even began. Fu Yun and Lu Su didn't go up the mountain. When the explosion occurred, Fu Yun retreated with Lu Su and successfully avoided the disaster. Yun Gij. Lu Su was so scared that her face turned pale. How could there be an explosion? Fu Yun hugged Lu Su and comforted her as he looked at the crumbling mountain. How many explosives must have been buried to blow up such a huge mountain? It definitely wasn't a last-minute bomb. Shi Shang had already killed many people in the Zhonghu. Now that more were lost, the righteous sects seemed to have withered even more. The demon sect no longer kept a low profile and began to act brazenly, expanding their ranks. The demon sect. Shi Shang was lying on a newly built roof with a snow-white puppy lying next to him. Awu, awu. The puppy barked at Shi Shang. What are you barking for? Shi Shang roughly pressed down on the puppy's head. Awu, awu, awu. The puppy struggled violently and cried out miserably. When the people below looked up, they all shook their heads helplessly. The sect leader was bullying the former sect leader's dog again. Sect leader, that girl is awake. A young girl came out from a nearby house and called out to Shi Shang. Shi Shang grabbed the puppy's head and jumped off the roof. He stuffed the puppy into the young girl's hands and walked into the house. The young girl stroked the puppy's fur, her eyes filled with fondness. Where did the former sect leader get such a puppy? It was only the size of a palm and wouldn't grow up. It was so cute. Thinking of the previous sect leader, the girl felt a bit sad. She hugged the puppy and entered the house. Shi Shang was standing beside the bed, bending over. There was a girl lying on the bed. She looked quite well behaved, but there was a scar on her face. It had already formed a scar, but it wasn't very serious. What is this place? The girl rolled her eyes and asked in a hoarse voice. Demonic sect. Demonic sect? The girl looked confused. Who am I? Shi Shang. How could it be so melodramatic? Miss, don't you remember who you are? The girl holding the dog asked curiously, Cult Master, did she break her head? Should we ask a doctor to take a look at her? No money. The one who spent money on the female lead was the male lead. Why should she spend money on her? Picking her up was already extremely benevolent. That's right, the person she picked up was the female lead, Bai Luo. It was not far from D Mountain. After picking up the male lead, she picked up another female lead. Although it was not the same drama. The girl. Our demonic sect can still afford to hire a doctor. Cult Master, why are you so stingy? Bai Luo really did lose her memory. She didn't even remember her own name. In this situation, it was impossible for her to selectively forget. She really did break her head. Great, the ship was broken just like that. As long as she kept the female lead captive in the future, Fu Yun and her would probably have no chance. Making the female lead lose her memory seems to be quite useful. Host is researching a strange skill again. Bai Luo stayed in the demonic sect just like that. The wound on her face was rather ugly, so the demonic sect's course men worked together to hire a doctor who was said to be a divine doctor for her. The doctor swindled a large sum of money, but it was useless. The wound on Bai Luo's face was still there. A group of course men chased after that quack doctor all over the continent. There was no girl who didn't like to look pretty. Bai Luo clearly minded the wound on her face very much. She wore a veil whenever she went out and didn't want to interact much with others. Shi Shang didn't have time to care about the female lead. She was very busy. Cult Master, the left and right sentinels look much better. It's just that Cult Master Jiang. What's wrong? Is he going to die? The reporting disciple carefully observed Shi Shang's expression. Why did it feel like the Cult Master was looking forward to Cult Master Jiang's death? Was it a misconception? It had to be a misconception. His condition doesn't look too good, he spat out these words. Looking at the Cult Master's expression, he was indeed looking forward to it. Let's go take a look. Shi Shang waved her hand. Mother Kerr, in order to save this idiot, I'm going to die in a sea of flames. Don't ask me why I saved him. That little bitch, the system, added some new function recently. It's getting more and more awesome. Zhang Zhan's body was covered in burns. So many days had passed, but there was still no improvement. His face was also black. How can you tell that he's not well? Shi Shang asked the person beside her with a strange expression. He's as black as a bag. Tell me, what can I, see? Are your eyes X-ray? They even have internal scans. Just now, the Cult Master was convulsing all over, that person replied weakly. Zhang Zhan's condition was indeed not good. He was severely burned and had been affected by the shock waves of the explosion. Zhang Zhan had been unconscious ever since they brought him back. Since ancient times, everyone dies. It doesn't matter if he dies early or late. Prepare for his funeral and find him a place with beautiful scenery. Shi Shang patted that person's shoulder. The Cult Master's expression turned ugly. Cult Master. Shi Shang seemed to know what he was going to say and interrupted him. Although I'm Grandma Yao's disciple, I'm a master of poison, not medicine. I can't save him. The Cult Master's eyes dimmed. Please think of a way, Cult Master. Shi Shang rubbed the space between her brows. What can I do? It's not like I can bring someone back from the dead. The disciples were speechless. Their leader was still alive. Ever since that day, Cult Masters came to Shi Shang's door every day to ask him to think of a way to save Zhang Zhan. Later, Ting Feng and Gu Yu woke up. Their injuries were much lighter than Zhang Zhan's, and they were alive and kicking after a few days of rest. But they were alive and kicking in front of Shi Shang. Shi Shang wanted nothing more than to kill them. I shouldn't have gotten you two out in the first place. Shi Shang gritted his teeth and glared at the two people in front of him. Cult Master, please help us all the way. Please think of a way. Gu Yu glanced at Shi Shang. Save him, and my life is yours. Shi Shang. Who the hell wants your life? Shi Shang took out a bottle from his space, poured out the pills, and placed them on the table beside him. I won't be responsible if he dies. It's up to you whether to feed him or not. Most of the pills she had on her were imbued with spiritual energy. Normal people might not be able to withstand the pure power of these pills, but if they could, it would definitely be beneficial. Zhang Zhan. I thought I was going to go offline. Little fairy. How is that possible? You're a villain. Zhang Zhan. What kind of villain would end up like me? Little fairy. Isn't it right in front of you? Zhang Zhan. Chapter 397. Ting Feng and Gu, you really did give the pill to Zhang Zhan. Shi Shang hadn't heard about Zhang Zhan's sudden death for a few days and was disappointed for a while. That guy had made it through. Ow. Ow, what? Your master isn't dead, so don't block Ai's way. Shi Shang kicked the puppy away. The puppy threw all 4 limbs onto Shi Shang's leg and lay on top of it. My dog is amazing. You even learned how to hug my leg. Shi Shang picked it up. It was a soft ball and felt good when he rubbed it. This puppy was now the demon sex cult pet. Even a 1.8-meter tall man could tease it for a while. The puppy was uncomfortable from being tossed around and cried out in pain. Sect Master, don't bully it like this. Bai Luo appeared out of nowhere and looked at the puppy in Shi Shang's hand with a pained expression. Shi Shang glanced at her and squeezed the puppy again. Bai Luo's heart ached even more when the puppy cried out in pain. Shi Shang handed the puppy over. Bai Luo reached out to take it. Shi Shang retracted her hand and retracted it. She placed the puppy on her shoulder and let it lie there. The puppy didn't dare to move, probably because it was afraid of falling. Bai Luo. So the sect master was just teasing her? You still haven't recovered your memories? Shi Xing asked as he walked out. Bai Luo froze for a moment, then carefully followed. No. Sect master, did you know me before? Bai Luo asked very carefully. Her name was what she told him. But other than her name, she didn't say anything else. A calm voice sounded in Bai Luo's ears. So what if I know you? So what if I don't? Bai Luo didn't know why, but she became nervous and pinched her clothes. Sect master, can you tell me? She wanted to know who she used to be. She wanted to know her lost memories. Her current state made her feel very insecure. Shi Shang paused and suddenly turned around. She had a smile on her face, but that smile didn't make Bai Luo feel close. Instead, it made her hair stand on end. She heard Shi Shang ask her in a teasing tone, "Why should I tell you?" Bai Luo suddenly fell into a trance as several images flashed through her mind. Shi Shang saw her standing there in a daze. Her brows furrowed. My BBB words didn't trigger her memories, did they? Bai Luo only panicked for a moment. When she tried to think carefully, she couldn't remember anything. When she looked in front of her, the woman who had been there just a moment ago had already disappeared. The Devil Sect was simply a group of little bitches who tortured people and wasted money. Ever since the Devil Sect had a little more liquid capital, this group of little bitches actually demanded to eat good food and wear good clothes. F***ck your grandpa. None of you wanted to go down and rob when I asked you to. Now, you're more eager than anyone else to use it. Therefore, the Shi Shang refused to give her the money. The devil cult began to spread the rumor that Shi Shang was a stingy leader. Stingy, right? I will show you how stingy I am. The people of the Devil Sect found that their meals had changed from 2 meals a day to 1 meal a day. After that, it became 2 days with meat, 3 days, 4 days. Cult Master, why are you becoming more and more stingy? Everyone expressed their dissatisfaction. They wanted to eat meat and went to the Shi Shang to make a fuss. That was how Shi Shang answered them. Eat meat? Eating meat will increase fat. Eating more vegetables is good for your body and mind. The Devil Sect members who had their meals deducted were unhappy and protested for more meat. However, the Shi Shang pretended not to see them and gave them an expression that said, "What are you talking about? I don't understand." Even though the Shi Shang was so stingy, their liquid capital was still decreasing by the day. The Shi Shang was mentally tired. What the hell was he raising? Even livestock didn't cost so much money. The Shi Shang decided to go down the mountain and do another robbery. The Devil Sect members always thought that robbing was done by bandits and didn't fit with their lofty style. Therefore, every time the Shi Shang said that he wanted to go down the mountain and make a fortune, they tacitly pretended not to be there. Hashtag this devil sect is poisonous. Hashtag motherfasterous. You're about to starve, but you're still thinking that being bandits isn't cool. This is an illness that needs to be treated. While Zhang Zhan was recuperating, people came to complain from time to time. When Wu Zhang attacked, it was the leader who asked them to cooperate and surrender. Now that the new leader didn't even give them meat, they wanted to rebel. Zhang Zhan recovered quite well and taught the person who came to complain a lesson. I told you to listen to her. Listen to her. Listen to her. Are you treating my words like the wind? Zhang Zhan roared. His voice was so loud that the entire room seemed to tremble. Leader. The person who was beaten said weakly, she wants us to go down the mountain and rob. Robbing was done by bandits. We're not bandits. Didn't you condemn this behavior before? Why are you rebelling now? Zhang Zhan kicked the person closest to him. So what if it's a robbery? You've killed people before, so why are you afraid of robbing? Get out of here. The few people were chased out, each of them pulling a long face. It's over. It's over. They have to go down the mountain and rob again. I think my stomach hurts. Tell Miss Wu Zheng that I won't be going. The person ran away after saying that. The remaining 4 people immediately looked at each other vigilantly and grabbed the person next to them at the same time. If they were going to lose face, everyone would lose face together. Just as Shi Shang was about to go down the mountain, Zhang Zhan appeared in front of him with a dark face. Oh, you're not dead yet? This villain's recovery was pretty good. He was able to get out of bed so quickly. Zhang Zhan's already dark face darkened even more. Wu Zheng, do you want me to die that badly? That's right. Zhang Zhan's chest heaved up and down. He gritted his teeth and said, I won't die. I want to be in front of you every day. Shi Shang, you'll get beaten up if you keep courting death like this. Zhang Zhan was like a rooster that had won a fight. He raised his head and puffed out his chest, waving his hand happily. Let's go, little ones. This leader will bring you down to eat meat. Shi Shang, F***CK. Since Zhang Zhan wanted to go, Ting Feng naturally followed. The two walked in front, whispering to each other. No one knew what they were plotting. Sect Master, I really don't know. I was also unconscious at the time. When I woke up, I was already in the sect. I only know that it was Miss Wu Zheng who brought us back. Ting Feng could recite everything. His sect master kept asking him how Shi Shang had managed to save them, but how was he supposed to know the answer? Ting Feng suggested, Sect Master, if you really want to know, you can ask Miss Wu Zheng directly. Zhang Zhan immediately snorted. Who wants to ask her? Does she think she's all that just because she saved me? Ting Feng. Sect Master, is it really okay for you to say things that don't mean what you say? Being able to save them from that place was indeed amazing. In any case, he definitely wouldn't be able to do it. Ting Feng coughed and looked around sneakily. He lowered his voice and asked, Sect Master, do you like Miss Wu Zheng? Zhang Zhan looked like he had been struck by lightning. His expression was very strange, and it quickly changed several times. He said angrily, Who likes her? She's like a lunatic. This sect master doesn't like her. Ting Feng. Fine, looks like he likes her. Asterisk pleading for votes. Chapter 398. When they reached the foot of the mountain, they saw Bai Luo standing there. The single men immediately became excited. Miss Bai, why did you come down the mountain? It's dangerous down the mountain. Miss Bai, quickly go back. Zhang Zhan was unhappy when he heard this and slapped the man's head. I didn't dig a hole at the foot of the mountain. It's not dangerous. Everyone. Serves you right for being single. Bai Luo was a little embarrassed. Her face was red, and the wound was almost invisible. Bai Luo carefully looked at Shi Shang at the back. Sect leader, can I go with you? No. Zhang Zhan refused. You're so skinny. Why would you want to go with us? Bai Luo. I didn't ask you. Sure. Zhang Zhan refused. Shi Shang immediately agreed. He then raised his chin at Zhang Zhan provocatively. You don't want her to go, but I want her to go. Humph. Zhang Zhan strode forward. Shi Shang guessed what Bai Luo wanted to do. She probably wanted to recover her memories. This was Bai Luo's freedom. Shi Shang couldn't control her. She wouldn't be responsible for her safety if she followed her down the mountain. Because of Bai Luo's participation, the group of men got a carriage out of nowhere and let Bai Luo sit in it. As the sect leader, Shi Shang could only watch. Zhang Zhan kept chattering, but no one gave him a second glance. The two sect leaders with no status were at the back. Zhang Zhan stole a few glances at Shi Shang. That. Shi Shang suddenly turned and looked at him calmly. Zhang Zhan suddenly couldn't say what he wanted to say. He gritted his teeth. Thank you. His voice was a little loud, so the people in front all turned to look. When they saw their sect leader and Shi Shang walking together, they all signaled with their eyes to speed up the carriage. Shi Shang was a little dumbfounded by Zhang Zhan's sudden gratitude. This idiot is suddenly thanking me? Is gold going to fall from the sky? Zhang Zhan saw Shi Shang looking up at the sky and asked angrily, What are you looking at? Why is she looking up at the sky when I'm thanking her? I'm wondering if it's gold, Shi Shang answered honestly. Zhang Zhan didn't know what to do for a moment. He also raised his head to look at the sky. Why would gold fall from the sky? Was this woman's brain damaged? After a while, Zhang Zhan finally reacted. He stomped his feet and pointed at Shi Shang, cursing. Shi Shang calmly walked forward, treating Zhang Zhan's curses as if they were nothing more than wind blowing past her ears. The noisy group made their way to the nearest city. As the butler, Ting Feng naturally began to make arrangements for accommodations. Zhang Zhan was so angered by the Shi Shang that he asked for a room the moment he entered the inn. He locked himself in the room and refused to come out even if he was beaten to death. Sect Master, there aren't many rooms. Ting Feng asked me to share a room with you. Bai Luo carefully made her way to the Shi Shang, her voice soft and pleasant to the ear. Shi Shang glanced at Bai Luo from the corner of his eyes. Bai Luo's face, which still had a little baby fat, was always red. She looked at Shi Shang innocently with her big, watery eyes. I can sleep on the floor. Bai Luo nervously added, probably because she was afraid that Shi Shang would refuse. Let's go upstairs. Bai Luo immediately smiled. There really weren't many rooms. Zhang Zhan had a room to himself, while the others shared a room with 4 people. Shi Shang couldn't just shove Bai Luo into Zhang Zhan's room, could he? This city was a necessary route for the so-called foreign trade business. It was equivalent to a transit city. Thus, this city was very prosperous. Most of the people here were merchants and didn't lack money. Similarly, this place was very chaotic. People from the imperial court and the martial arts world mixed together. Who wouldn't want to make money? Shi Shang hadn't even stayed in the inn for a day, but he had already witnessed 2 fights. During dinner, he witnessed the 3rd fight. And this time, the fire had even spread to them. The cause was Bai Luo. When she was going downstairs, she accidentally bumped into someone. That person probably saw that Bai Luo was pretty and didn't want to let her go. Bai Luo couldn't apologize, so that person wanted to take liberties with her. As the demon sect's guardian beauty, how could the demon sect's rough men agree? Wasn't this a match? Shi Shang calmly sat in the main hall and ate. It was as if the people quarreling over there weren't people from the demon sect. Zhang Zhan was probably disturbed by the noise and rushed downstairs. He didn't even give the other person a chance to react and punched him in the face. Quarrel your grandpa. You haven't quarreled enough during the day, and now you want to continue? Zhang Zhan was annoyed by the noise, so it was normal for him to explode. The person who was hit covered his mouth with a gloomy expression. When he saw the person in front of him, he immediately mocked. I was wondering who it was. So it's Sect Master Jiang. Oh no, it's former Sect Master. I heard your demon sect is now run by a woman? You're relying on a woman to protect you? Fuck. Who needs to rely on that lunatic? Jiang Zhan's anger soared. He pulled out Scarlet Heaven and slashed at the person. The people around them immediately scattered to make room. Jiang Zhan and the man were evenly matched. Neither of them had an advantage. Jiang Zhan, give that girl to me and I won't bicker with you today. How about it? The man stared at Bai Luo maliciously. There's no point in us continuing to fight like this. It's just a woman. You, Jiang Zhan, wouldn't be so stingy, right? Bullshit, Jiang Zhan cursed. Shi Shang couldn't bear to watch. How did Jiang Zhan, this trash in battle, become a villain? Through intelligence. He didn't see any great intelligence in him. He only saw his idiotic and amusing side. Shi Shang was silent. Probably because of his beauty. Shi Shang rejected this idea. Fuck your grandpa. Why don't you show I how crazy you are? While Shi Shang was lost in thought, Jiang Zhan had already knocked the man over and was proudly stepping on the man's chest. The man's lackeys looked at Jiang Zhan nervously, all of them pointing their weapons at him. Jiang Zhan, let go of our sect master. Hearing this, Jiang Zhan increased his strength and stepped on the man's chest. The man groaned. Jiang Zhan. The person on the other side shouted anxiously. However, because their sect master was in Jiang Zhan's hands, they didn't dare to act rashly. The atmosphere was so heavy that it made it hard for everyone to breathe. The surroundings were quiet, and only the heavy breathing of the unknown sect master under Jiang Zhan's feet could be heard. The sound reverberated through the inn, like a large animal on the verge of death. Little Sister Xiaoluo. This gentle call was extremely abrupt, but it also broke the heavy atmosphere in the inn, and the air seemed to flow again. On the second floor, a woman was looking at Bai Luo in surprise. She didn't dare to come down because of the people standing on the stairs, so she looked to the person beside her for help. Yun Gij, its little sister Xiaoluo. Fu Yun also saw Bai Luo being protected behind the group of people. His brows furrowed, and his cold gaze landed on Bai Luo. How could she be with someone from the demon sect? Bai Luo looked at them in confusion at first, but when she saw Fu Yun's face, she froze for a moment, her heart aching. Do I know them? Asterisk pleading for votes. Chapter 399. Fu Yun jumped down from the second floor with Lu Su, who immediately walked over to Bai Luo. Xiaoluo Mimi, where have you been recently? There's been no news at all. Do you know how worried Yun Gij and I have been? Bai Luo had no impression of the person in front of her, and the strange pain from before had disappeared without a trace. She retreated behind Ting Feng and asked tentatively, Do you know me? Xiaoluo Mimi? Lu Su clearly didn't understand what was going on. Fu Yun's frown deepened. Xiaoluo Mimi, don't you remember who I am? Unfamiliar images flashed through Bai Luo's mind. The man in front of her gave her a very familiar feeling, but she still felt a bit of resistance. She shook her head slightly. Shi Shang finished his last mouthful of rice and put down his bowl. On the side, Lu Su and Fu Yun wanted to forcefully take Bai Luo away, but the demon sect members didn't agree. As for Jiang Zhan, he was sitting on the sect master's lap, holding Scarlet Heaven as he stared at Bai Luo. When Shi Shang looked over, he immediately turned his head and flashed a smug expression at Shi Shang. Shi Shang. Retarded children were much happier. Shi Shang looked away and walked over to Bai Luo, pushing aside Lu Su who was blocking his way. Wu Zheng. Lu Su was astonished. Why was she here? Shi Shang smiled wickedly. The girl. Bai Luo isn't willing to go with you. Are you going to snatch her away? Xiaoluo Mimi, is she threatening you? Fu Yun's eyes were cold. He'd almost died at her hands last time. No, the sect master is very good to me, Bai Luo hastily denied. She'd only heard those rumors when she was outside, but she had eyes and could see for herself that the demon sect was completely different from the rumors. Even if the sect master's words were unpleasant, she'd been there for so long and had never attacked anyone or lost her temper. Moreover, she was especially good to girls. Shalom Mimi. Lu Su hesitated. You should come with us. Iun Gij and I won't harm you. Bai Luo clearly hated Lu Su from the bottom of her heart. She shrunk her head behind Wind Harvester and refused to look at them. If Bai Luo had to choose, she would definitely choose the demon sect, whom she had spent so much time with, and not the two people who were complete strangers to her. Shi Shang clapped her hands, and the crisp sound attracted everyone's attention. Well, she didn't want to leave. It has nothing to do with me. Fu Yun's eyes flashed with anger. Wu Jing, what did you do to little Luo? Why did little Luo lose his memory? Why did he lose his memory? She probably can't stand you showing off your love with your ex-lover. Shi Shang spread out his hands. People who have fallen out of love like to lose their memories. Fu Yun's expression changed slightly. What do you mean? Bai Luo liked him? Sect master. Bai Luo poked her head out and asked weakly, did I like him before? She felt terrible when she saw this man. Could it be that she really liked this man? Yeah, didn't you have a strange feeling when you saw him? She had amnesia, not a soul swap. Some of her body's instinctive reactions, or when she was stimulated by something familiar, should have stimulated her memories and made it possible for her to recover them. Iun Gij, let's give little Luo Mimi some time to think about it. We'll ask her when she's done. Lu Su pulled Fu Yun back, afraid that he would have some thoughts about Bai Luo because of Shi Shang's words. Women could see through other women more clearly than men. From the first time they met, she knew that Bai Luo liked Fu Yun. Bai Luo poked her head out again, her bright eyes filled with curiosity and confusion. Fu Yun glanced at her, then nodded at Lu Su. Finally, his sharp gaze landed on Shi Shang. Wu Jing, I'll get my revenge for last time sooner or later. We'll be waiting for you. Shi Shang's lips curled up in a somewhat arrogant smile. Fu Yun wanted to draw his sword and attack, but he knew his current situation, so he went upstairs with Lu Su. Once the two left, Jiang Zhan called for his men to beat up the gang leader's men and throw them out. Jiang Zhan, just you wait. I won't let you off, the gang leader said, his face bruised and swollen. Scram! Jiang Zhan picked up a nearby stool and threw it at the gang leader. When this matter was over, the innkeeper appeared out of nowhere, calmly calculating on an abacus while muttering to himself. 3 tables, 10 stools, 3 sets of teacups, bowls. The innkeeper bent down to look at the stairs. The ladder is damaged. Pelipala. The total is 24 taels and 8 coins. May I ask who will pay the bill? Everyone fell silent. The onlookers left behind their money and ran out of the inn. Only the demon sect members were left, and they all looked at Shi Shang. What are you looking at me for? I don't have money. You broke the things yourselves, and you want I to pay for them? Do you know how poor we are right now? Go chase that son of a bitch back for I. Jiang Zhan slammed the table angrily. The table couldn't withstand his violence and fell to the ground. The innkeeper quickly added on. The demon sect members ran out of the inn and chased after the gang leader. They never expected that they would be chased back and paid for. This was a great humiliation, so the gang leader made a note of it on Jiang Zhan's head. Shi Shang shook his head, unable to look at them. Pay my ass. You're the demon sect, okay? Have some backbone. I'm so angry. Hashtag the demon sect's newest move to refresh our worldview. Hashtag the demon sect style is still as strange today. Hashtag. Shi Shang didn't want to talk to these idiots, so he went upstairs alone. Seeing this, Bai Luo hurriedly followed him. Leader, do I really like that man? Shi Shang opened the door and said rudely, how would I know if you really like him, or if you just like his face? It wasn't scary to be shallow, she was shallow too. Does he have someone he likes? Bai Luo had already learned to ignore Shi Shang's barbed words. Is it the girl beside him? Shi Shang nodded absent-mindedly. Why was she so talkative? They're quite compatible. Perhaps it was because of her memory loss, but Bai Luo said this easily. Haha. Compatible my ass. You're the real couple. But it's almost over. Bai Luo didn't understand why Shi Shang was in sarcastic mode again. Shi Shang couldn't be bothered with this silly girl, so he simply washed up with the water in the room. Shi Shang took over the bed, so Bai Luo could only sleep on the soft couch in the room. It was very narrow, so she could only sleep on her side. Bai Luo couldn't sleep well because she couldn't lie down straight. She couldn't fall asleep for a while, so she thought about what happened before and fell asleep in a daze. The cold moonlight shone in through the window, covering the floor with silver frost. ## What if Cherub doesn't vote? Waiting online, it's urgent. ## Don't vote, just don't update #. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.